Good afternoon and welcome to the Commentary Ups coverage of this Premier League encounter. Manchester United take on Arsenal as the Gunners look to return back to top of the Premier League table after Man City went there yesterday with their 4-0 victory over Fulham. Tonight, or this afternoon, or this morning, depending where you are in the world, I am joined by Paul James and Mike Orneman for this game. Today, Mike Orneman will providing punditry on the match. But before we get Mike's thoughts on the team news and the head of the kickoff, let's go to Paul James, who can bring us up to date with that team news for Manchester United against Arsenal. Over to you, PJ.
Hi, Ross. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us today. Interesting team changes for Manchester United. Out goes Sofyan Amrabat. In comes Sofyan Amrabat. Out goes Christian Eriksen. Scott McTominay is in for Mason Mount, and Amad Diallo steps in for Anthony. So it seems Eric Ten Hag here is going for youth. Also, 6 of his substitute bench are under the age of 20. For Arsenal, well, it's very familiar lineup and no changes for the 5th game in a row. It's Arsenal versus Manchester United at Old Trafford, and kickoff is in 10 minutes' time. Back to you, Ross.
Thank you very much there, Paul. And you've just there from Paul, and we're fetching Mike Orneman, now very good friend of the channel and one of the co-owners of the channel as well, and a big Arsenal fan. I've just heard there, Arsenal unchanged for the 5th game in a row. Are you surprised by that at all, or with the sides winning the last few matches, are you surprised Arteta's kept the same lineup? Unable to get Mike. There, Mike. I think you muted me there, Mike. We'll try and get Mike in a second. With us, we'll try and get Mike with us shortly. But to see Arsenal with that unchanged lineup, I don't think many fans would have expected changes, especially with winning 3-0 last time out against Bournemouth. We will try and fetch Mike Orneman in just a second to give his thoughts on the changes. And Mike, with the changes, then no changes for Arsenal, 5th game in a row. Are you surprised by that from Mikel Arteta, or are you not surprised? Because I'm not really surprised, especially with the performances of late.
Yeah, sorry about that. I just had a quick phone call to deal with, but no, I'm not surprised by the lineup being as it has been for the last couple of games. I think it's quite a smart move to keep it unchanged, really, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, man. When you look at this Arsenal side, obviously, past few matches, I'll just quickly go through some of the results. 3-0 against Bournemouth, 3-2 against Spurs, 5-0 against Chelsea, 2-0 against Wolves, with a 2-0 defeat against Aston Villa. So in there, you've scored quite a number of goals and only conceded 4 in that time, Mike. Are you surprised by that with the performances? Are you surprised that Havertz is starting up front instead of likes of Gabriel Jesus or Eddie Nketiah, who are both on the bench today?
Not really, because I think Kai Havertz has come good in the last couple of months. He was very hit and miss at the start of the season, and everyone was questioning the price tag and everything like that. But he's come really good in the last few months of the season, really, and he's in really good form. So I'm not overly surprised to see Kai Havertz up top, and I think we've got options off the bench if need be with Gabriel Jesus, as you mentioned, and Eddie Nketiah, and even Gabriel Martinelli if things aren't going our way. But yeah, based on the last few months of the season and sort of how it's planned out for Kai Havertz, I'm not overly surprised to see him starting today, no.
Man, just let me switch your attention to the opponents for Arsenal today, Manchester United. Obviously, then we've had Bruno Fernandes. He's still out injured. Mason Mount out injured as well. Just touching on Bruno Fernandes, how big a miss is Bruno Fernandes from this Manchester United side with his performances that he's put in this season?
He's an absolutely massive miss. I think he's their best player by some distance. I think he's their best player as well this season. And when I seen the lineup there, I was hearing rumours probably 3 or 4 hours ago that Fernandes and Rashford might have been back today and starting in that game. So the fact they're missing out is quite a big boost really for Arsenal.
Yeah, looking at that bench, Paul mentioned a number of that bench for Manchester United. A number of the players are under the age. And bench, the likes of Smith Rowe, Jorginho, Vieira, Jesus, Martinelli, and Ketia, obviously Zinchenko and Kirill on the bench as well as outfield players. Do you think that could play a part today in terms of teams wanted to make changes, managers wanted to make changes later on if it's not going right for their side?
Yeah, I think there's a good possibility of those options. Some of them coming off the bench for sure and have an impact with Martinelli, Jesus, and Ketia, as you say, Jorginho. I kind of missed the first part of that question, but from the gist of what I thought you were saying, I think those guys, if things aren't going in Arsenal's favour, can come on and have an impact and have a difference. Yeah.
Well said, man. Do you think the experienced bench for Arsenal compared to Manchester United's bench will have an impact on the game when both managers are looking to change things? Do you think Ten Hag will be wanting more experience on there rather than just doing Antony and Eriksen today?
Yeah, I think so. I think Man United, when you look at their bench, they've got a very youthful bench, as Paul's mentioned already when he was running through, going over it. So yeah, I think Arsenal have got the favourable bench, that's for sure, and a lot more options to rely on if Mikel Arteta decides to go to those substitutes, and if things aren't going the way that he wants to with the starting 11 he's picked today. Yeah.
Mike, I'm gonna you know what question's coming now, Mike. I ask it every time when we're doing a game if you're on punditry and I'm presenting, or even if you're a girl come alongside me. I always ask for you to give us your prediction for the game that we're covering in Manchester United Arsenal today, Mike. Your prediction for this one?
See, I was jokingly saying 5-0 to people the other day, and I'm kind of stuck to that a little bit. So it'd be wrong if I didn't stick with a 5-0 prediction. It's going to be difficult being Man United, and it probably won't be 5, but the fact I've been jokingly throwing it out there, I'm going to have to stick to 5-0, I think.
Mike, and with that 5-0 scoreline that you're predicting today, with the side that you've got out there, just give me your first goal scorer from the Arsenal lineup today.
I think Bukayo Saka is going to be on the score sheet today. I think it's a big day for him, and I think he's going to have a big impact on this game. So I'm going to go him to get the first one, yeah.
Thank you very much. Then Mike will be back. We'll have more thoughts from Mike Orneman at half time from the game as we get ready for kick-off in what's going to be a big game in the Premier League. Manchester United against Arsenal. I'm going to go for a 4-0 Arsenal victory, I think, myself. Normally, I would ask Paul for his prediction, but we haven't been main commentator today. We'll not, Paul, I won't put that pressure on you to give us a scoreline today. But with the players almost ready to come out of the tunnel at Old Trafford, let me hand over to you, match commentator. It's Paul James.
Thank you, Ross. I appreciate that because I don't have one for you. Welcome, everybody, to Old Trafford as the players coming out onto the pitch right now, led by the two skippers today. Let's have a look at your starting lineup. So we're going to start with Manchester United, who is managed by Erik ten Hag, and they have number 24, Andre Onana, in goal. Number 29, Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Number 35, Johnny Evans. Number 18, Casemiro. And number 20, Diogo Dalot. 4, Safyan Amrabat. 37, Kobbie Mainoo. Number 17, Alejandro Garnacho. Number 39, Scott McTominay, who's wearing the captain's armband in place of the injured Bruno Fernandes. Number 16, Amad Diallo. And number 11, Rasmus Højlund. As mentioned earlier, Mikel Arteta has chosen to name an unchanged Arsenal side for the 5th game in a row, starting with number 16, David Raya in goal. Number 18, Takahiro Tomiyasu. Number 6, Gabriel. Number 2, William Saliba. Number 4, Ben White. And number 41, Declan Rice. Number 5, Thomas Partey. And number 8, Martin Odegaard, the usual captain. Number 19, Leandro Trossard. And number 29, the ever-improving Kai Havertz. And number 7, Bukayo Saka. On the substitutes bench for Manchester United, they named 6 players under the age of 20 years. And starting with the goalkeeper, Altay Bayindir. Willy Kambwala comes back from injury today. Harry Amas, Halib Ogunyi, Christian Eriksen, Amari Thorson, Toby Collier. Anthony drops down to the bench today, and Ethan Weekly. For Arsenal, very familiar substitutes bench by now. Aaron Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, Jakub Kivior, Alexander Zinchenko, Emil Smith-Rowe, Jorginho, Fabio Vieira, Gabriel Martinelli, Gabriel Jesus, and Eddie Nketiah. And our referee today is Paul Tierney. He's aged 43 and he's from Wigan in Lancashire. The assistants are Scott Ledger, Matt Wilkes. The fourth official is Darren Bond. And in VAR today, should we need them, is John Brooks and Konstantin Hatzidakis. Well, the two teams have met each other 239 times in previous meetings. Manchester United have won 101 of those. Arsenal have won 88. And there's been 50 draws. Both sides well familiar with each other now, and it has been one of the markings of every football fan on the calendar for Manchester United versus Arsenal. Just looking at the injuries that Manchester United hold right now, you can look at here. Bruno Fernandes could have returned today, along with these other four players: Scott McTominay, Marcus Rashford, Rafael Varane, and Victor Lindelof. And only Scott McTominay has been successful. Along with that is Lisandro Martinez, Luke Shaw, Willy Cambuala is back on the bench today, Anthony Martial, Harry Maguire is out till June, and Tyrell Malacia till next season. So the injury crisis at Old Trafford is huge, but unfortunately for Erik ten Hag, he seems to be bearing the brunt of this right now. So the players are just gathering together now at the centre circle. The Manchester United players all set to go. Arsenal themselves just doing their traditional gather up together for their final preparations. Interesting stat that I read earlier on today, as a matter of fact. Manchester United have faced 317 shots in their last 16 games. That's less than Arsenal have faced all season, with 304 in 36 games. And Manchester United have used 14 centre-back combinations this season. And Saliba and Gabriel have started 32 of Arsenal's 35 games. So very, very contrasting statistics there, but Arsenal about to get the game underway. They will be attacking the Stretford end. That's the goal to our left in the first half. As we're underway here, it's back with David Raya, who launches the ball long down the right-hand side. The head is won by Kai Havertz. He goes in again, but that's a good header won that time by McTominay. Coming away from it is Kobe Mainoo. Arsenal win the ball back, though. It's Martin Odegaard skipping into the penalty area. He pulls it across, cleared away again by McTominay. Dalot tries to go over and meet Saka, and Saka goes down under the pressure of Amrabat and Dalot, but Saka wins the ball back and even manages to get a cross in. But it's cleared out of play by almost out of play by Johnny Evans, but it's kept in play by Arsenal. And here's now Gabriel down the right-hand side, gives the ball to William Saliba. It's flicked back onto Bukayo Saka. Quick start by Arsenal. It's now Kai Havertz in the penalty area. It's flicked across by Havertz, but unfortunately it's behind Declan Rice, and it's knocked behind from Ahmad for the first corner of the game to Arsenal, and they are putting the pressure on early on. Kai Havertz ball just behind Declan Rice that time, and Dalot has put the ball behind for a corner. So Arsenal, a corner down the left-hand side, which Declan Rice is going to take, as it's become a staple for him to take the corners down the left-hand side now, right in front of the Stretford end at Old Trafford, as Declan Rice is going to swing this one in. And it's flicked on there. Oh, just off the line. That time by Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but Bukayo Saka now has the ball. Bukayo Saka gets to the touchline, tries to get the cross in, but it's blocked by Dalot, and he flicks the ball to Diallo. Diallo now for Manchester United holds the ball up and gives it to Garnacho. Garnacho tries to play the ball back to Dalot, but Saka gets in and knocks the ball out of play. But early pressure by Arsenal, and it was almost off the line, really, there. We take a look at that corner again, and it's flicked on. Actually, it's Wan-Bissaka, but it's not really on the goal line. It actually looked like that from a distance, but the ball is out of play, and it's going to be a throw in to Arsenal. Midway inside the Manchester United half, down the right-hand side, it's thrown long and cleared away and out of play by Johnny Evans, and we are going to have a throw in for Arsenal. It's about, it's level with the Arsenal penalty, with the Manchester United penalty area. The throw-in is taken quickly, and it's a poor one. But Johnny Evans might have been better just leaving that. Instead, he hooks it away out of play, and it's going to be another throw into Arsenal. Had he have left that, he could have just gone behind for a goal kick. But it's a throw-in for Arsenal again, level with the Manchester United penalty area, and I believe taking it down that side. It looks like you just can't quite tell who that is, but the throw-in is going to be taken. It's another long one, picking out Martin Odegaard. Martin Odegaard is dispossessed now, and Manchester United can try to come forward, but it's given away there to Partey. And now here's Odegaard, back heels it to Bukayo Saka with a first shot on goal, but it's a comfortable save for the goalkeeper. And Onana. Well, Onana had a difficult night last Monday in the 4-0 defeat to Crystal Palace. He gets himself behind that one, no problems. And the ball is released and flicked on that time again by Dalot. Dalot launches the ball forward, looking for Rasmus Højlund, but the ball goes out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal. And I want to thank you for joining us today for this game. Crucial match for Arsenal. They must win this one. If they lose this game or draw it, the title can be won on Tuesday night when Manchester City will play Tottenham Hotspur. And it's one back here, and here's Højlund with a shot, but it's over the crossbar. It's not really. You'd be disappointed with that effort. Just went over the crossbar. Thomas Partey dispossessed there. As we look at that again, and Thomas Partey just loses the ball there, and it just fell nicely for Højlund. But it's a very disappointing finish, really. He was slipping as he got under it, so it went over and out of play. But he'll be disappointed with that, nevertheless. Ball is long downfield, and it's picked up here by Kai Havertz. Havertz drops it back to Odegaard and to Havertz, but Havertz gives it straight to Højlund. Højlund now down the left-hand side, just inside the Arsenal half of the field. Here comes Højlund again, and a good challenge there by Ben White, and puts the ball out of play. It's going to be a throw-in for Manchester United, midway inside the Arsenal half of the field, as Manchester United try to make some inroads into this great wall of Arsenal's defence, by far the best defence in the league. And they have been extremely impressive this season, both offensively and defensively. They do also, I believe, have the best offense in the league as well. They are a very, very difficult team to beat. Here's Kobbie Mainoo. Mainoo drops the ball back there to Johnny Evans. Evans plays the ball across to Casemiro, playing at centre-back in recent games. Here's Diallo into the centre circle. Diallo just trying to pull away here from Tomiyasu. He drops the ball back to Johnny Evans again. Evans gives the ball to Amrabat. Back to Evans. Plays the ball to Mainoo, and Manchester United just trying to slow the game down and keep possession now. Here's Amrabat. Gives the ball to Casemiro. Back to Sofiane Amrabat, the Moroccan international. Now it's with Diallo. Diallo holds the ball up on the centre line, and he drops it back there to Amrabat. Just looking for options available. He gives the ball to Casemiro. Casemiro goes long there, and he's looking to find Garnacho, and the header is won there by Ben White. But here is Garnacho again. Gets into the penalty area, Garnacho. Looking to get the shot away. It's blocked well there. And here's Diallo. Just tries to cut away from two Arsenal players. And it's now with Garnacho with a shot, but it takes a deflection and goes over. And that's the best that Manchester United have done so far. They've had an amicable amount of possession. And you can see here that Garnacho, surrounded by three Arsenal players, including Gabriel and Declan Rice and Thomas Partey, still manages to get his shot away. And it takes a deflection. And Manchester United, of course, now won the corner. The corner to be taken down the left-hand side by Alejandro Garnacho. It's swung in deep to the back post, and Ray is struggling, but he gets a palm on it. Here's Diallo now. Down the right-hand side, Diallo cuts into the penalty area, back with Mainoo. And, it's an interception there. The pass by Amrabat wasn't great. And now Arsenal can come forward. And it's Leandro Trossard down the left, but Sofiane Amrabat wins the ball back very, very well there and takes the ball back towards his own penalty area. And he drops it to Johnny Evans. It's given to Kobbie Mainoo, midway inside his own half of the field, to Amrabat to Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay goes down under the challenge from Declan Rice, and referee Tierney gives the free kick. Well, as I take a look at the last 5 games for Manchester United, only 1 win, and the amount of goals conceded, it's 11 goals in 5 games. That is shocking for Manchester United. And they have the most wins in the most losses in a single season since 1990. And here's Odegaard, gives the ball to Bukayo Saka. Saka tries to get the cross in, but that is a good block by Johnny Evans. And it's going to be a corner. But Arsenal breaking out in numbers when they need to. Just as I was mentioning there, Manchester United have had their most losses in a single season since the 1989-1990 season, which of course was the year that Alex Ferguson's job was under pressure. But they are facing that same scenario right now. But interestingly enough, 3 wins, and Manchester United would still very well end up in a Conference League position. So that's how close that area around the Conference League is. Bukayo Saka now with the corner. It's swung in, and the header is on, and it's over the top by Gabriel. And, well, Andre Onana was watching it, but I was confident that it was going over. The header by Gabriel just landed on the top of the net. Onana was watching it, but didn't seem overly concerned. Andre Onana has the ball back now. He gives it to Johnny Evans and to Casemiro. Casemiro drops the ball back to Andre Onana. We've had almost 10 minutes here at Old Trafford. It's Manchester United 0, Arsenal 0. And some comments in the comment section. Mike has said, Partey has been very suspect since coming back from injury. That's the one concern for me. He seems to lose out in the midfield battle quite a bit. And further news from my producer Ross, Manchester United have won the Women's FA Cup for the first time, so congratulations to them. And here is David Raya. David Raya drops the ball back across to Saliba, who gives it to Gabriel. Gabriel to Declan Rice. Declan Rice turning away from Kobbie Mainoo, but the pass wasn't great, and had McTominay just been a little quicker there, he might have been able to have gotten in from that poor pass from Declan Rice, but David Raya very quick to that one, launches it downfield, and it went all the way to the other end and behind for a goal kick. As we take a look at Erik ten Hag, just looking at some of the Manchester United fans, some of them do actually want Erik ten Hag out. Most of them do want a player change along with Erik ten Hag going though, indicating that they don't just blame the manager. And I think that would be the fair thing to do. I'm not sure that sacking Erik ten Hag and leaving this current crop of players is going to make any difference. As the ball goes back to the goalkeeper there from Takahiro Tomiyasu, and it's cleared by David Raya downfield. Comfortably won there by Diallo. Diallo now going down the left-hand side. He gives it to Scott McTominay. McTominay drops the ball back to Diallo. Here's Mainoo. Amrabat. Mainoo. Midway inside the Arsenal half of the field. And Arsenal setting up their usual stall here. And here is Mainoo again. 63% possession in this first 10 minutes for Manchester United. They haven't really done a great deal with it. Here's Johnny Evans to Amrabat. And Amrabat inside the centre circle now. Gives the ball there to Casemiro. Casemiro across the centre line there to Johnny Evans. And the ball is played forward here. And it's Alejandro Garnacho. Garnacho drops the ball back to Evans as Arsenal pressing Manchester United back well here. Casemiro gives the ball there to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka back to Diallo, and Diallo goes all the way back to Andre Onana as Arsenal really now putting the press on Manchester United. This is good work there by the captain, by Leandro Trossard, and but he is dispossessed by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And now here's Sofyan Amrabat, back to Wan-Bissaka. Amrabat, Wan-Bissaka. Picks up the ball just before the halfway line down the right-hand side. Gives the ball there to Amrabat as well. He sprays the ball over to the left-hand side. And the header is won comfortably that time by Declan Rice. And nipping in to make sure that Garnacho doesn't win the ball back is Bukayo Saka. Here's Ben White. William Saliba, I should say. and he gives the ball to Kai Havertz. It's now with Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey's got options available to him left and right. He chooses William Saliba. Back to Partey. And he's giving it to Gabriel. Gabriel holds the ball up. Arsenal patient build up from the back right now. Thank you for joining us today in this vitally important match. If you're a Manchester United or an Arsenal fan, feel free to get your comments in. I'll read them out. Let us know where you're watching the game from or listening to the game from. We'll be happy to read those comments out for you. Just please keep them nice and clean. We are a family show after all. The ball is now with Andre Onana, and this game seems to have settled into a rather stale beginning. It's a very tight affair so far, which I suppose what you would expect. Manchester United not wanting to be on the end of another hiding. It's Dalot for Manchester United, storming over the halfway line. It's Diogo Dalot. He tried to find Diallo there, but that is a good interception by Leandro Trossard. But Diogo Dalot breaking out so quickly then for Manchester United, really stretching that Arsenal defence, but the pass in the end was poor. He was looking for Amad Diallo, but that's a good interception by Leandro Trossard. It's going to be a corner for Manchester United down the right-hand side. 2 corners apiece, and it's going to be Amad Diallo that takes this corner. He swings it in, and it's just headed out there by Declan Rice. Got some distance on that to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka drops it back to the halfway line. And Andre Onana is all the way out there. He launches the ball long, and the header is won by Bukayo Saka out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in. Level with the Arsenal penalty area to be taken by Johnny Evans for Manchester United. Scott McTominay, Amrabat. And it's now with Dalla. Dalla gives it back to McTominay, wearing the captain's armband today for Manchester United in absence of the injured Bruno Fernandes. Here's Casemiro. Casemiro just plays the ball there, just through the middle there, but it's picked up by Rasmus Højlund, but he's dropped the ball back to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka down this right-hand side to Amad Diallo. Diallo tries to give the ball there to Mainu. Mainu's got in front of him Tomiyasu. He gives the ball to Wan-Bissaka, to Amrabat. Played forward here now for Dalot. Dalot with a shot, and it looks like it may have taken a deflection off Declan Rice. I just wonder whether it did. In fact, it's behind. It looks like it's a goal kick. And we are still 0-0 with 20 minutes gone here. Mike says, can tell we look nervous today, which was expected after the City result yesterday. Well, at the moment, it really is a standoff between Arsenal and Manchester City, with each side holding their serve. And it's crucially important that Arsenal get the 3 points today, or the title could be won on Tuesday night. It's back with David Raya. Raya gives the ball to Thomas Partey. Partey gives the ball to Gabriel. Back to Thomas Partey again. Manchester United, despite the possession, still haven't had a shot on target yet. Arsenal have had one. It was comfortably saved by Onana. It's back with David Raya, who gives the ball to Gabriel. Gabriel. And it's with Partey. Thomas Partey to to Ben White. Back to Thomas Partey as Arsenal in there. Changed jerseys today. Not quite sure if I mentioned that. They changed jerseys of a luminous yellow, black shorts, yellow socks. Manchester United in their famous red shirts, white shorts, and black socks. The ball is played long by Partey. Over to Leandro Trossard down the left-hand side. Bit of space for Trossard. Gets the ball in, and it's headed away there by Dalot. Only as far as Ben White, and he gives the ball to Odegaard. And Odegaard, that was careless, gives the ball to Scott McTominay, but McTominay gives it back to Odegaard. And Arsenal trying to win the ball back. McTominay nearly gave the ball away again. And it's now picked up there by Bukayo Saka with a header. Heads it down to Thomas Partey. But just for a second there, Odegaard gave the ball back to McTominay, and McTominay gave it back to him. Thomas Partey. Ben White, just over the halfway line. We had 17 minutes gone here. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 0 at Old Trafford. And it's Saliba gives the ball to Ben White. White plays the ball forward to Odegaard. Odegaard trying to slip Kai Havertz through, but that's well read by Johnny Evans, and he just nips in and gives the ball to Casemiro, who clears the ball downfield, chested down well by Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu plays the ball across there to Saliba. Saliba to Ben White. Inside his own half of the field now, Ben White. Just looking for options, maybe the run of Bukayo Saka. He drops the ball back to Saliba. Saliba holds the ball up, goes into the centre circle. Saliba gives the ball back to Ben White. Ben White just over the halfway line, tries to play Martin Odegaard through. That's a good ball to Odegaard. Odegaard cuts inside, and he holds the ball up to Odegaard, drops it back to Bukayo Saka. Saka gives the ball to Thomas Partey. Arsenal do indeed look a little nervous right now. Here's Gabriel. And it's dropped back into the centre circle to William Saliba. Back to Thomas Partey. Might just do Arsenal well to just keep possession for a while. Here's Partey again, inside the centre circle. Gives the ball to Gabriel. Gabriel gives the ball to Saliba. Rice. Declan Rice again. Arsenal now just keeping possession. Holding the ball up. It's Saliba again. Gives the ball to Gabriel. As Arsenal just trying to settle things down. Great ball by Gabriel to Takahiro Tomiyasu. And that is a good challenge, in fact, by Casemiro. And somehow that stayed in play. That looked like it was going out. But Casemiro somehow keeps it in play. Comes away with the ball and clears it. But it's won back by Gabriel. And he gives the ball to Leandro Trossard just over the halfway line. Here's Thomas Partey. Partey holds the ball up. Inside the centre circle. Gives the ball there to Ben White. Ben White goes down the right-hand side and gives the ball to Bukayo Saka. He's got Dalot and Garnacho in front of him. They're doubling up on Saka. And here's Saliba. Gives the ball back to Ben White. Ben White just being patient. He's holding the ball up and he gives the ball here to Odegaard, the captain. So much goes through Martin Odegaard. And he moves back towards Gabriel. Gabriel gives the ball back to Odegaard. To Saliba. Saliba plays the ball forward, but it's only to Safyan Amrabat, and Manchester United now take possession of the ball, and it's been given back to Andre Onana. Onana looking to clear the ball, left-footed, downfield. It's headed down there by William Saliba to Ben White. Ben White lifts the ball over there to inside to Kai Havertz. Havertz in the penalty area. Can he pull the ball across? He can! It's 1-0! It's Leandro Trossard on the 20th minute mark, and Arsenal take the lead to ease those nerves. It's Leandro Trossard, and it came about from the pass from Martin Odegaard to Kai Havertz, and Kai Havertz pulls the ball across, and Leandro Trossard is there to tap the ball into an empty net, and Arsenal take the 1-goal lead here at Old Trafford. Well, Onana started with a clearance. And I'll just talk you through this goal. It was downfield. It was won there comfortably. And then the ball was played forward to Havertz. Havertz got into the penalty area. The United defenders got nowhere near Havertz. Casemiro was there and didn't pick him up. Havertz got into the penalty area with ease. Johnny Evans doesn't get close enough. And the ball is pulled across. And neither Wan-Bissaka or Casemiro get anywhere near Leandro Trossard. And the goal on 20 minutes is enough to give Arsenal the 1-0 lead here at Old Trafford. Well, all I can say is United now have a mountain to climb, and Arsenal can now rest their nerves a little bit as they silence this noisy Old Trafford crowd. And here's Dalot, gives the ball to Amrabat. Amrabat gives the ball back looking for Dalot, but in the end, it's Onana that has to chase that one. And Onana clears it downfield. The head is won there by Ben White and gives it to Partey. Partey gives it back to White. And White goes all the way back to David Raya. So we've had our first goal of the game on 20 minutes. And it goes to Arsenal's number 19, Leandro Trossard. And as it stands right now, Arsenal go back to the top of the table as David Raya has the ball at his feet now, and he's going to clear this one downfield and up to try to win that one there comfortably was Johnny Evans, but he only found Thomas Partey. Partey gives the ball to Odegaard. Odegaard now down to Kai Havertz. Havertz has got options left and right, gives it to Odegaard, and back to Partey. Partey to William Saliba and Gabriel. And here is Odegaard again. Back to Gabriel. And back to the goalkeeper there from Saliba. And it's released by Raya to Odegaard. Odegaard goes back to Raya. 1-0 then to Arsenal. As here is Gabriel, who plays the ball forward. And that's a really, really good pass to Leandro Trossard, who lays the ball on to Ben White. Ben White has got Saka overlapping, and here's Saka, corner of the penalty area, right-hand side. Back to Ben White, tries to cross it to the back post, but it goes out of play. It was too high, and although Tomiyasu was on the back post, that was way over Takahiro Tomiyasu's head. Onside, no issues there. But in the end, it wasn't the greatest ball into the box. And Erik Ten Hag there, shaking his head. Can't be happy with what he's seen so far. The ball is played long now to Rasmus Højlund. And Højlund is adjudged to have fouled Gabriel. As he disagrees with that decision and complains to the assistant down this near side. Just see. Mike has said yes. Russ has said, surely I can't watch another 0-0 today. No, that's not happened, Russ. Mike celebrating Leandro Trossard's goal, saying that he's been fantastic recently too. As Arsenal have a free kick here, which is going to be taken by David Raya. Just outside of his own penalty area, he's going to go long with this ball downfield. The heads go up with Wan-Bissaka. The comfortable header won by Wan-Bissaka. And now Manchester United can come forward with Diallo. But that is alleged to have been fouled there. As Paul Tierney, referee today, one of the more experienced officials in the Premier League for this game. With the controversy surrounding VAR and some of the decisions recently. I think, and so much on the line, I think the Premier League was looking for an experienced head to officiate this match. Here is Casemiro. Casemiro tries to play the ball forward, but Leandro Trossard blocks it. And it's out of play for a throw-in. Midway inside their own half of the field, throw-in to Manchester United. Casemiro in an unusual position at centre-back. Wan-Bissaka with this throw-in. And he just drops it to McTominay. McTominay just trying to get away from Trossard. And it goes out of play as Kobbie Mainoo unable to keep that ball in. So it'll be a throw-in for Arsenal, almost exactly on the halfway line, down that left-hand side as far as Arsenal are concerned. And 1-0 is the score. At the moment, if you're just tuning in, Takahiro Tomiyasu is going to take this throw-in. And he's just trying to steal some extra yards, and Erik Ten Hag is not pleased with that. Takahiro Tomiyasu throws it long, and it's headed up into the air by Kai Havertz and hooked away by Casemiro into the Arsenal half of the field, and now picked up by Scott McTominay, but it comes off the Scottish international and goes out of play for another throw-in to Arsenal, just over the halfway line for Takahiro Tomiyasu to take down the left-hand side. The Japanese international now has got options available, specifically Odegaard and Partey. He's also got Leandro Trossard there, but he's taking his time at the moment. He's going to get a warning if he's not careful. And nipping in to win that ball there is Amad Diallo. He gives it to Scott McTominay, but once again, another poor ball by McTominay. There's been a few like that in this first half. And Bukayo Saka is pulled over there by Diogo Dalla, and it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal. Well, it's not been the greatest start in terms of explosive action, but we've seen a goal. That's something, because the two championship games didn't see a goal today in the playoffs. So they're all going to go back to a one-match shootout. Leeds and Norwich back at Ellen Road on Thursday. I believe Southampton and West Brom is on Saturday, in case you're interested. Here is Gabriel. Gives the ball to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu drops the ball over to Ben White. Ben White and gives the ball to Saliba. Saliba plays the ball forward, but the ball was given away by Johnny Evans there that time. And the ball now is won back by Arsenal. It's with Ben White. He plays the ball forward to Kai Havertz. Under pressure there, he's fouled, surely. The referee says play on. And Thomas Partey sets Declan Rice off on his way. On the left-hand side, he's got Leandro Trossard. Maybe he didn't see him. Comes back there to Tomiyasu with a shot, but it's blocked by Casemiro. And it comes back there to Odegaard. Odegaard plays the ball down the right. And it's with Ben White. Cuts into the middle, Ben White. Oh, it's a lovely ball by Ben White to Bukayo Saka. And he pulls the ball back there to Ben White. Ben White with a shot and he pulls it wide. He was not able to go across the goalkeeper, went to the goalkeeper's front post, but it went wide. He might have been offside here. That's very close. Bukayo Saka may well have been in an offside position anyway, but it was a good ball back to Ben White as Ben White skittled past Johnny Evans and Casemiro were far too easily there as that one went wide. But Ben White being very, very impressive in this game so far and in this season so far. Russ has just corrected me. The Southampton v West Brom game is in fact on a Friday night. And Mike is just asking Russ if he's going to the game. I suspect he probably will be, if he can get tickets. Here's Rasmus Højlund, who's in an offside position, and it's going to be a free kick to Arsenal as we've had 29 minutes gone here. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1 at Old Trafford. And here is Ben White. Just gives the ball back to William Saliba. Midway inside his own half of the field. He plays the ball forward there to Kai Havertz. Back to Saliba and to Declan Rice. Declan Rice, good ball to Ben White. Ben White tries to play Kai Havertz on his way, but that is too far away from Kai Havertz, and Johnny Evans wins the ball back comfortably. And here is Dalla. Dalla cuts inside to Mainu. And it's back to Amrabat now inside the centre circle as Manchester United looking for an equalising goal. And there's Casemiro, just drops the ball down there to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Back to Diallo. And now with Amrabat. Amrabat gives the ball back to Evans. Casemiro. Back to Amrabat. Mainu. Amrabat. Not Amrabat, rather. Johnny Evans. Back to Amrabat. Mainu. This is patient build-up by Manchester United, looking to move this Arsenal team out of shape. As here's Garnacho. And he gives the ball now to Dalla. Dallo back to Garnacho, cutting in from the left-hand side. Garnacho, a little bit of space for Garnacho. Oh, it's pulled back to McTominay, but he loses his footing there. And it's just not going for McTominay in this first half. And Kai Havertz just tries to win the ball back, but he's dispossessed by Mainu. Mainu now, corner of the penalty area, left-hand side to Garnacho, inside the penalty area, goes down, no chance of a penalty there. Mainu, inside the penalty area, good challenge, but it's back to Garnacho. And it's now to the edge of the area with the shot there by Casemiro, but it's blocked and headed out again as Casemiro attempts to launch the ball back into the penalty area. He sends it up into the air, and Kobbie Mainoo just brings the ball down under pressure from Partey. Mainoo goes towards the left-hand side of the penalty area. He drops it back to Dalla. Dalla back to Johnny Evans now as Arsenal pressing Manchester United back a little bit. Dalla plays the ball to Garnacho. Garnacho gives the ball to Mainu. Mainu to Scott McTominay. And it's now back with Diogo Dalla. Good ball through to Højlund. Højlund, can he turn in the penalty area here? No, he is dispossessed. And it's cleared away by Thomas Partey, out of play. Getting the challenge in there on Højlund was, looked like Gabriel there. Let's just take a look at this again. Yes, it's a good challenge by Gabriel and then eventually cleared by Thomas Partey. As Arsenal now defending at the moment, but defending well. And Manchester United haven't had a shot on goal in this game yet. It's long now. By the goalkeeper Onana. It's only headed up into the air as far as Rasmus Højlund. Højlund back to Mainu. Mainu to McTominay. McTominay finally gets a shot in, but it's wide. And it's a disappointing effort by the Scottish international, as Manchester United's performance in general has not been great in this first half. Russ says he is going to the game. He's got tickets on Thursday. And that'll be an interesting game. I may tune in and watch that myself. As we look at some of the ownership of Manchester United. One has to say that they've all come under criticism recently, but really the main focus at the moment has been on the manager and the player and the general performances on the pitch, namely that dreadful performance against Crystal Palace on Monday night. Here's Garnacho, and he gives the ball to McTominay. McTominay just slows it down, gives it back to Garnacho, down the left-hand side, trying to beat Ben White. Here is Garnacho. Garnacho pulls the ball back there to Amrabat. Amrabat gives the ball to Evans, back to Garnacho, approached there by Ben White and Bukayo Saka. It's Garnacho again, as Arsenal doubling up on him with Saka and White. It's back with Diallo, and the ball is now to Casemiro. Casemiro down the right, right hand side to Diallo. Diallo back to Casemiro. Casemiro across to Amrabat, and it's picked up there in the middle of the park by Mainoo. Gives it back to Amrabat. Amrabat to Højlund. Højlund down the right-hand side, the left-hand side now to Garnacho. Garnacho tries a shot, but it's blocked and cleared away by Tomiyasu, but only as far as Wan-Bissaka. And he gives the ball to Amad Diallo down the right-hand side. Diallo cuts into the penalty area. He's surrounded by 3 Arsenal players. Gives it back to Tomiyasu. The cross is swung in by Casemiro to the back post and chested back comfortably by Ben White to David Raya. And that brings that latest Manchester United attack to an end. Pretty fruitless, really, by Manchester United. Mike said he'd rather see Arsenal go and try and score a second and a third because our defence has been fantastic this season, but there's still naiveties there. Mike, is this because you want your prediction of 5-0 to be true? Just asking. It's back with David Raya now. And David Raya clears the ball to William Saliba. Saliba gives the ball to Ben White. Back to Saliba. Just holds the ball up. He's midway inside his own half of the field. He gives the ball to Gabriel. We've had 6 attempts by Manchester United, 5 attempts by Arsenal. 2 on target for Arsenal and on none at all for Manchester United in this first half, as there is 10 minutes to go. And Arsenal still lead by a 0-0 at Old Trafford, with Leandro Trossard's goal being the goal that separates the two teams. Here's Saliba. Saliba dropped back to the goalkeeper, David Raya. David Raya, not just that, just know that United would love to get one over on us because of the history. Well, that's true. I actually can't think of too many teams, not talking about a rivalry amongst the fan base, but too many actual group of players that hate each other more than Manchester United and Arsenal. And some of the battles that they've seen down the years has been incredible. And here's Casemiro. Casemiro drops it back to Andre Onana. And Onana plays it across there to Dalot. Dalot plays the ball forward. And back there by Garnacho. There's a little bit of pace on it, but Onana gets the ball forward to McTominay, and McTominay gives it down the right-hand side to Amad Diallo. Diallo cutting into the middle now. Amad Diallo tries to beat 2 Arsenal players, goes down. No appeals from the challenge, but here's Wan-Bissaka now. Down the right-hand side as well. He drops it back to Mainoo. Diallo is still down. We might see, yes, the ball is put out of play by Aaron Wan-Bissaka as Diallo goes down. Let's just take another look at this. Well, he tends to run over Thomas Partey's boot. Well, I don't think there's anything in that. That's very debatable. I'm sure Manchester United fans will be up in arms, but it didn't look so bad to me. It looked like he just ran over Partey's boot there more than anything else. And Mike says 1-0 is a dodgy lead, and he's absolutely correct on that. So we're just taking a look at Manchester United's sort of attacking prowess. I mean, they've got the 10 goals from Bruno Fernandes, who's absent today, 7 from Scott McTominay, but they really don't have much from their attacking hosts in general. Rasmus Højlund has added 8 goals, so he's added some form of offense to that lineup. If we take a look at the Arsenal's in contrast, You see goal 12 from Havertz, 16 from Bukayo Saka, 11 from Leandro Trossard. You can see there's a much more balanced approach by Arsenal. And of course, they've had help, 8 goals from Odegaard, 7 from Declan Rice, 6 from Martinelli. So they've had basically offense from many of their players, whereas Manchester United have not. As the game is back underway, the game will be back underway shortly, as we just take a look at that Leandro Trossard goal again, which once again is really, really questionable defending from Manchester United. It was too easy. Casemiro and Wan-Bissaka, nobody was close enough, and it was way too easy. And still, Manchester United just behind by the 1 goal. So the game is still on, as Diallo is back to his feet now. He's going to go off, as is the usual protocol. They usually go off for, well, approximately 30 seconds in normal circumstances. As we're back, the game is back underway, and Leandro Trossard sportingly gives the ball back to Andre Onana. As it's now back with the Cameroonian international. He launches his ball long downfield over the head of everybody, and back to David Raya, who gives the ball to Saliba. Saliba gives the ball to Gabriel. Gabriel holding the ball up well. Back again to Gabriel. And he gives the ball there to Declan Rice down this left-hand side. Rice plays the ball forward to Havertz. It's a poor ball by Havertz, and Mainoo finds Højlund. Højlund to McTominay. McTominay has got Diallo and Garnacho making runs. He tried to find Garnacho, but that was another poor ball. And Thomas Partey just gets in there, makes a challenge. It does go behind for a corner to Manchester United, so to get something out of it. But once again, Scott McTominay's passes have not really worked out quite well. And the corner is to be taken down the left-hand side for Manchester United now. It's swung, and it's a poor one, and it's headed out by Havertz. And it's the referee has given a free kick for the challenge on Kai Havertz, as Manchester United. And that's a long clearance, but Havertz is taken far too quickly. And I think we're going to go all the way back now for that free kick. 5 minutes to go till half time. 1-0 to Arsenal. I'll be honest with you, it's certainly not been the best watch so far. Recent Manchester United and Arsenal games have usually been a lot more action-packed. We haven't seen that. Both sides, Arsenal being very cagey at the moment with the 1-goal lead. You can hardly blame them for that. Manchester United, of course, just unable to break Arsenal down. And here is David Raya now. He gives the ball to William Saliba. Saliba holds the ball up, and he drops the ball back to David Raya. And Raya gives the ball to Gabriel. Gabriel to Partey. Partey gives the ball to Havertz. Havertz gives the ball away. And here now is Garnacho. Garnacho inside the penalty area now. Can he pull the ball across? No, that's a good block by Ben White. But that was a bad giveaway by Kai Havertz, not for the first time in this game. That's a long ball by Bukayo Saka looking for Kai Havertz, but that's intercepted by Johnny Evans, and he's given it to Sofian Amrabat. Amrabat finds Casemiro. Casemiro to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka down that right-hand side there to Amad Diallo. Diallo back to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka gives the ball back to Casemiro. And Casemiro drops the ball back into his own half of the field, and Andre Onana out again, midway inside his own half of the field. And it's back now with Onana. And I have to wonder whether Arsenal may want to press Onana a little bit. There is a mistake or two in him. And here is Diallo, just over the halfway line, and he gives the ball to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka drops the ball back to Diallo. Diallo across the halfway line there to Johnny Evans across the width of the halfway line. And here's Casemiro again. Gets the ball to Diallo. Diallo just trying to turn away from Tomiyasu. That's a wonderful ball by Diallo to Garnacho down the left-hand side. What a superb pass. Garnacho into the penalty area now. Garnacho, can he pull the ball across? It's back out to Scott McTominay as David Raya got his hand to that cross, but Scott McTominay wasn't expecting it, and the attack breaks down. But Manchester United still maintain possession. Here's Amrabat. Amrabat moves back towards the centre circle as we approach half-time here, and the score is still 1-0. As here's Casemiro. Drop back again. Casemiro again is just doing a quick 1-2 with Kobbie Mainoo. And Mainoo just pulls the ball back and gives the ball to Jonny Evans. Evans back to Mainoo. Mainoo lifts the ball up long and over the heads of everybody. And that will go behind for a goal kick. Be interesting to see how much stoppage time Darren Bond, our fourth official, will add on in this game. As we take a look at this brilliant run into the penalty area by Garnacho. The cross was just a little bit too close to David Raya, but it bounced right back out to Scott McTominay, and he just wasn't able to do anything with it. As Manchester United still hunting for their first shot on goal in this game, and we are almost at half-time. That gives you some idea how good Arsenal's defence has actually been. As the goal kick downfield by David Raya. And the ball is flicked on, and it's bouncing up and down at the moment. Thomas Partey just brings the ball under control, gives it back to William Saliba, who launches the ball forward looking for Kai Havertz. Havertz was leaning into Jonny Evans there, and it's going to be a free kick as we have another Arsenal player down, which is William Saliba. And while that's going on, just want to thank you very much for joining us today. You're listening to Alternative Commentary on the Commentary Hub YouTube channel. Today's Player of the Match sponsor on the Hub is sponsored by Commentary Services. And Commentary Services would like to thank our broadcasting partners for this season, JB Sports and Storm FM. Don't forget you can follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1. And you can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Commentary Hub as Andre Onana boots that ball downfield. Chasing it is Aaron Wan-Bissaka, but cutting across is Takahiro Tomiyasu. Good work by him, just to ensure that ball goes out of play, and it's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal. As we're about to see here in a few moments just how much time is being added on by Darren Bond. With the two stoppages, I'd say it'd be at least 5 minutes, as Bruno Fernandes, we'll take a look at him. It's actually 3 minutes in this first half, Darren Bond, so we've got 3 minutes stoppage time. At half-time, we'll go back to Ross and Mike as they'll talk about the first half. As here is Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu gives the ball now to Martin Odegaard under pressure from Amrabat, and Amrabat dispossesses Odegaard, and he plays the ball through there looking for Højlund, but cutting across well and defending that really well was Saliba, just dragging Højlund out of position at the same time and putting the ball out of play for a throw-in, which is about 7 yards from the corner flag. It's taken quickly, and here's Mainoo now, down that left-hand side again. Mainoo gives the ball here to Dalot. Dalot, back to Mainoo. Mainoo swings the ball in, but that is a comfortable take in the air by David Raya, and he drops on that. Martin Odegaard, also not at his best today. We've seen a lot of sloppy play by some of the players that you would rather expect better from. McTominay, Odegaard, Havertz, plenty of giveaways, and it's amounted to some disappointment in that respect. But Arsenal still leading by 1-0. And it's cleared by David Raya downfield quickly. And here's Scott McTominay. He's challenged by Thomas Partey. The ball goes out of play for a throw into Manchester United. As we are approaching the last sort of minute or so of stoppage time in this first half, and that's unless Paul Tierney wishes to add any discretionary time of his own. It's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal now, and it's going to be taken by Ben White. As we have Ben White just not exactly in a hurry is Ben White. He's got options available, and he decides to go long, does Ben White. It's a good, decent effort on the throw-in. It's tried to be flicked on by Kai Havertz, but it goes all the way through to Casemiro. Casemiro gives the ball down the right-hand side to Amad Diallo. He's been a bright spark in the first half for Manchester United. Diallo plays the ball through there to Sofian Amrabat. Amrabat, the cross in there is a really good one, all the way to Garnacho. Garnacho tries to get the shot away, but that is blocked by Ben White as Arsenal continue to slam the door shut on Manchester United, restricting them to long-range shots, shots that are off-target, and pressing them all the way back as well. Andre Onana now is inside the centre circle, the Manchester United goalkeeper, and he gives the ball to Johnny Evans. Evans back to Garnacho, to Dalla. Dalla, good ball across there to the number 18, Casemiro, and that is it. The referee blows for half-time, and Manchester United, huff and puff as they may, they have not been able to blow Arsenal's house down. Defensively, they've been absolutely superb in the first half, the Gunners, and they've managed to score a goal on 20 minutes with Leandro Trossard giving Arsenal the lead. And, well, it's been an interesting first half in the sense from a tactical point of view, not much in terms of action and excitement, but it's half-time at Old Trafford. It is Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1, and it's back to Russ.
Thank you very much there, Paul James. It's half-time in the Premier League game, and we're covering is Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Brilliant first half, and a brilliant first half commentary as well from our very own Paul James, as always, as we come to expect. Let's just bring you some of the scores from around the grounds today. In the Championship, playoff matches, first legs, it finished Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0, West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0 as well. In Premier League 2, which is the Under-21s League, kick-off tonight at 7 o'clock in the playoffs, Tottenham Hotspur taking on Liverpool. This evening in the Premier League Under-18s, finished Nottingham Forest 3, Everton 2. In the Women's FA Cup, and I'm going to repeat this scoreline twice just to emphasise that it's the Women's FA Cup. Manchester United 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0. It's the Women's FA Cup final. Manchester United 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0. Manchester United win the Women's FA Cup for the first time. In the French Ligue 1, in France, all games kick off at 8 o'clock. United is coming up to the final weekend of their season. Clermont take on Lyon, Marseille against Lyon, Montpellier against Monaco, Nantes against Lille, is PSG versus Toulouse, Rennes versus Lyon, Strasbourg against Metz. In the German Bundesliga, Darmstadt 0, Offenheim 6, and Bayern Munich are 2-0 up against Wolfsburg. No Harry Kane, he's out injured, says Zlatan and Goretzka has scored, with Zaragoza having a goal disallowed for offside. Bochum against Leverkusen is a 6:30 this evening. In the Italian Serie A, some full-time scores tell you there is Lazio 2, Empoli 0, Genoa 2, Sassuolo 1, Verona 1, Torino 2, Juventus 0. Salernitana 0 is the latest score after just 19 minutes. Atalanta take on Roma at 7:45. And in the Dutch Eredivisie, just to quickly go through some of the results in there, all games have finished in there. It's Ajax 3, Almere City 0, Excelsior 4, Go Eagles 0, Excelsior 4, Hercules 0, Go Eagles 0 is at Alkmaar 3, MV 1, Vitesse Arnhem 3, Nemgen 2, Feyenoord 3, Fortuna Sittard 1, PSV Eindhoven 1, FC 27, FC Volendam 2, Utrecht 0, Sparta Rotterdam 1, and Waalwijk 1, Pek Zwolle 1 in the Dutch Eredivisie. Scottish Premiership, Hibernian 0, Aberdeen 4. In La Liga, Cadiz 1, Getafe 0, Atletico Madrid 1, Celta Vigo 0 is the full-time scores there. Valencia versus Real College Opus 5 kick-off, and Real Betis against Almeria is at 8 o'clock kick-off this evening. I knew someone would have made that joke, Mike. The club scored FC 20 and they won 7. and in the Dutch Eredivisie, and they've been voting them by 7-2. And there's some games in the MLS, which I'll just pick out a couple of results in there. Inter Miami beat CF Montreal 3-2. Orlando City beat Philadelphia Union by 3-2. New York City won 3-2 away to Toronto FC. Atlanta United lost 3-2 to DC United as well. Los Angeles FC beat Vancouver Whitecaps 3-0. Well, Los Angeles Galaxy drew 2-2 with Real Salt Lake in the MLS. Let's turn our attentions back to our featured match in the Premier League, and Mike Onneman's with me. And Mike, Arsenal leading by 1-0 at half time. Some chances for Manchester United in that first half. Not all plain sailing for Arsenal, I must say, Mike. And when I just quickly look at some of the possession, some of the stats from this first half, which I've got in front of me here right now. Possession-wise, Manchester United 54.9, Arsenal's 45.1. 8 shots in favour of Manchester United to 5 for Arsenal. 2 on target for Arsenal, though none on target for Manchester United. 3 shots off target for Man United, 2 for Arsenal. Man United have had 17 touches in the box. Arsenal have had 17 touches in the box. 1 goalkeeper save for Onana, none for David Raya. 3 corners to Manchester United, 2 for Arsenal. We're looking at that first half, Mike, and looking at the goal again. You see Casemiro's too slow to get out. If he got a bit quicker, I guess would have been offside. And then you look at Wan-Bissaka, sees where Trossard is, and then Trossard gets in front of him. And he's just, we're a goal from Arsenal, not taking anything away from Arsenal. But from a defensive point of view, Manchester United, it was very, very poor, wasn't it, Mike?
It was, absolutely, yeah. And I think that's, Wan-Bissaka also involved in it as well. But I think that's probably largely down to Casemiro and the fact he's not an out-and-out centre-back. He's obviously filling in there for injuries. I think that's excuse me, that's a big factor in that goal for me. The fact that Casemiro is playing out of position there.
Yeah, but looking at Arsenal going forward, Mike, we could have had a number more goals. Manchester United had chances as well. What have you made to the game overall in that first half, Mike, from your opinion and from an Arsenal perspective?
Yeah, it's been quite an entertaining game. It's been quite cagey, really, as well, which is as you'd probably expect with a Manchester United against Arsenal game. I said it in the comments that we're looking nervy, and I could sense that for quite a while at the start of the game. It took us a little while to get going, but then we got the goal through Trossard, as we mentioned, and it was a really well taken goal. Kai Havertz's part in that was good as well. But yeah, as I said, I'd much rather us go and try and get a second and third, rather than sit back on a 1-0 scoreline. Our defence has been great this season, but it's Man United away. It's that they're going to fancy this. They're going to be really up for trying to dent our title hopes, even if it's going to help Manchester City out. To be honest, I think that that's sort of the history of the fixture.
Yeah, we've just seen an instant there when Amad Diallo went down looking for a penalty for Manchester United. For me, Mike, at the time, and I've just seen it again, nothing in that for me. And I would probably say you'll probably say the same. But what we'll say, Mike, is Manchester United have looked to cause you problems in that first half, or cause also problems in that first half. And they've had chances, but David Raya yet to be forced into having a save to be made, Mike, which you must be pleased about from an Arsenal defensive point of view.
Yeah, definitely. I think the defence have stood up very, very well to everything that's been thrown at them today so far. Man United missing a couple of key players. I think they're missing Bruno, they're missing Rashford, who could really have a big impact on this game. They're missing other players that could have an impact and an influence as well. But I feel that this Arsenal defence have really stood up this season and have been counted on numerous occasions, really, and have really improved on the back of that capitulation really last season at this sort of stage. But it's looking good at the moment for what looks like potentially another clean sheet again, which would be great for the defence. But as I said before, it's Man United away, and I'm sure Erik ten Hag will get into them in the half-time break. They're ready for the second half, and they'll come out fighting again.
Yeah, looking at as we've already touched upon, man, looking at the benches for both sides, Manchester United with a lot of youngsters on there, not really enough to change things in terms of attacking point of view, only really I'd say probably Christian Eriksen, mainly the only outlet along with Anthony of a creative standpoint. But when you look at Arsenal, if Arsenal want to get a second goal to try and kill this game off, they've got like Nketiah, Martinelli, Jesus, Vieira who can get forward and score goals, Smith Rowe on the bench as well, who can get forward and score goals to add to that, plus what you've already got, plus what Arsenal's already got on the field. Are you surprised by Manchester? I know we've already touched upon this from waiting in the first half. Are you surprised if Man United don't have a chance to the likes of Eriksen and Anthony very early on in the second half if it continues to stay 1-0? And would you expect Arsenal to throw, say, Martinelli or Nketiah or Jesus, them types of players, to try and get you a second goal as well, Mike?
I think we'll see Martinelli and Jesus probably at some point, yeah. If I was Erik ten Hag and Manchester United, I'd be looking to bring Anthony on at half-time to to offer something different there, a bit of creativity and a bit of skill and a bit of flair really to go at, that Arsenal back line. Christian Eriksen might well come on as well at some point, but if I was Ten Hag, I'd be looking to bring Anthony on at half-time for sure, ready for the second half.
Yes, thank you very much, then. I will get back to this game in a moment, but we've just received a bit of news from the thing that happened after the game at the Carrow Road this afternoon. One of the Leeds United local reporters, Adam Pope, is put out. He understands there was an incident after the game at Carrow Road this afternoon where a Leeds United fan received an injury to the neck that has bled. Not confirmed what caused the injury. Possibly a can has been thrown, used. One Norwich fan has been arrested. There has been some things that fans who was there and their father was the person who got injured, who said they came out of Carrow Road with chants of Turkey and Turks with knives after the incident which happened between Leeds United and Galatasaray with those two Leeds fans. And he said, as his dad was was asking the lads what was being said, he says his dad got slashed on the neck with a knife and was hit by a full can as well. And I've also mentioned one Norwich fan being arrested. The fans who were there as well said 2 fans have been arrested. Another fan got arrested. And apparently there was a knife with alongside a full can being thrown as well. So speedy recovery to the Leeds fan, and hopefully we'll find out what happened. Hopefully the fan is okay, which judging from the photo, he seems to be okay in himself. Just hopefully he's not too much serious there with regards to that. And also go to the Leeds fan injured, and hopefully the relevant police and authorities find out who's done that to make it out and make sure the person or people are banned from football moving forward. No place in that should ever be in the game.
I just want to echo that as well. I completely agree with everything you've said, Russ. To be honest, I think the hooligan sort of side of football is really horrendous, and it's just horrible that people take it to that level and to that extreme, really. So hopefully everything's okay and that the person in question's all right.
Yes, thank you very much there, Mike. Just going back to this game then, Mike, looking at the second half, you gave a prediction earlier, Mike, of a 5-0 to Arsenal at the start of the game. I want to ask you a question now. With it being 1-0 at half time, Manchester United having chances as well. Yes, I know they've not really took their chance at half time, but do you see it still being 5-0, or do you see the game being more cagey in the second half or more open in the second half? I just see the game going in the second half. And do you reckon it'll still end up 5-0, or are you going to change your prediction?
Right, first of all, 5-0 was basically something I was saying for a while. It was a bit of a joke, and I kind of had to stick with it because I'm not going to go back on my original prediction, as much of a joke as it was at the time. I didn't ever think it was going to be 5-0, to be honest. It's Manchester United Arsenal. I don't ever see it being that one-sided, as poor as Manchester United were last week, and then they have been for the season. But I do think there's goals in it for Arsenal still. So a couple more goals, maybe 3-0 or something like that. As a realistic prediction.
Interesting there, 3-0 as the teams are ready to come back out ready for the second half. We're almost ready then for the second half. As we now going to hand you back over to the match commentator for the second half. He's back over to you, man. On the mic. Over to you, PJ, Paul James.
Thanks, Russ. Thanks, Mike. And yes, the Arsenal team are back out for the second half, along with the Manchester United team. From what I can see, there has been no changes so far, but I'll get you a definite on that. In the meantime, if you're just joining us, I'll just run through the starting lineups for Manchester United. Onana, Wan-Bissaka, Evans, Casemiro, Dalot, Amrabat, Mainu, Garnacho, McTominay, Diallo and Højlund. For Arsenal, Raya, Tomiyasu, Gabriel, Saliba, White, Rice, Partey, Odegaard. Trossard, the goal scorer, Havertz and Saka. As we see Erik ten Hag now about to take his seat on the bench. As Manchester United will be attacking the Stretford end in the second half. The goal to our left as they get the game underway. It's now back with Onana. And it's long by Onana all the way through to David Raya in the Arsenal goal. He just is going to pick it up. He's just going to take his time. The Stretford end will be expecting Manchester United to try to do something. I feel personally, from a neutral perspective, that Manchester United need to show something after that game against Crystal Palace on Monday. And they haven't done that in this game so far, at least not in my opinion anyway. Gabriel gives the ball to Saliba. Saliba under pressure there from Diallo. Gives it to Ben White, and then Ben White clears the ball forward. But it's just into the Manchester United half, and there's nobody there. So Johnny Evans just comes up and picks the ball up and drops it back to Andre Onana. And it's now back with Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans to Diogo Dalot. Dalot just tries to do a quick 1-2. Gets the ball back there off Garnacho, and it's knocked out of play by Dalot, but it's going to be a throw-in for Arsenal. And midway inside the Manchester United half of the field down the right-hand side, taken by Ben White to Havertz. Havertz drops it back to Saliba, as Arsenal really have not had to move and shift forward in the gears at all in this game so far. Although the score is only 1-0, they've almost been playing this game almost like a training session, really. Leandro Trossard just plays the ball across there to Ben White, and White just gives the ball to Saliba. Saliba just nips away there from Garnacho and then drops the ball down the left-hand side to Tomiyasu. Back to Declan Rice. Declan Rice just plays it down this near side now to Ben White. Ben White gives the ball there to Odegaard. Odegaard drops the ball back to Ben White. And now here's Saliba. Saliba just over the halfway line. Good work by him. Drops the ball to Bukayo Saka. And now back to Ben White. And if Arsenal can hold on to this, then we'll put the pressure on Manchester City. Because if Spurs can steal even a draw in that game, it puts the title race really back in Arsenal's hands. And it's Declan Rice now, and he's being challenged by Casemiro. Good work by the Brazilian. And he gives it to Wan-Bissaka. And it's now with Diallo. Diallo gives the ball to Mainu, being pressed back to his own touchline. And Mainu plays it off Trossard, and it goes behind. And we're going to have a goal kick. As we see much the same from both sides at the start of this second half. Arsenal shutting down Manchester United all over the field and pressing them back and trying to get forward to add that second goal. Here is Johnny Evans. Plays the ball forward there to Garnacho. Garnacho drops it back to Amrabat. Amrabat to Johnny Evans again. Evans plays it forward down the left-hand side to Diogo Dalot. Under pressure there from Bukayo Saka. He gives the ball to Scott McTominay. McTominay is almost dispossessed there, but good work by Mainu. And here's Dalot again. Dalot down the left-hand side now, just trying to get away from Saka. He does very well there. Pulls the ball into the middle. But Thomas Partey is there, and he slips. But William Saliba is there to cover for Thomas Partey. And in the end, Saliba just launches the ball out of play for a throw-in, which is almost level with the Arsenal penalty area. This is good work by Dalot, trying to just get inside that Arsenal defence. Plays the ball across, but in the end, it wasn't the best ball. And it's a throw-in for Manchester United, taken by Dalot, and he throws it all the way back to Johnny Evans. And Evans gets the ball back off Casemiro. Evans gives it to Dalot, to Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo playing himself for a position perhaps in the England team for the forthcoming European Championships in Germany. We await to see, most England fans await for bated breath on what the squad will be. I don't really care. I'm waiting for the Germany squad, but here comes Casemiro, and he plays it long over to the left-hand side, and it's Amad Diallo. Diallo just holds the ball up, and it's now with Dalot. Dalot plays the ball down the left-hand side to Garnacho. Garnacho being chased by Ben White. Good cross by Garnacho, but the only one waiting there is Leandro Trossard, and he plays it off Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. Mike says, you'd think Havertz is a shoo-in for the Germany squad now, Paul, would be in the second half of the season. No, absolutely, Mike. Yeah, he definitely will be. He'll probably... there's a very good chance that he'll probably play as part of that attacking midfield three. Those five in midfield at the moment, which Germany seems to be very impressed with. Part of that five that really got the job done against France and the Netherlands. So we'll wait and see. I'm certainly a little bit more optimistic than I was. It's cleared away there by David Raya downfield. It goes over the head of Kai Havertz, and it's back with the Brazilian centre-back Casemiro, or acting centre-back as the case may be at the moment. Here is Sofyan Amrabat now, just inside his own half. He gives it to Garnacho. Back to Amrabat. Long ball. Oh, that's a beautiful ball by Amrabat. And he finds Dalla. Amad Dallo, I should say. Amad Dalla. I'm sorry, I got stuck on my words. And is Dalla again. Diallo, in fact. Diallo. I don't know what went wrong there. Amad Diallo. The ball is now with Gabriel. Gabriel drops the ball back to the goalkeeper, and it's cleared downfield. Up in the air there, wins that ball is Diogo Dalla. And Odegaard now just gives the ball to Kai Havertz down the right. Odegaard again. Odegaard cuts inside, and he plays the ball to Leandro Trossard, corner of the penalty area, left-hand side. Arsenal looking for number 2. It's a long ball, but it's away from Kai Havertz and goes out of play for a throw-in to Manchester United. Yes, thanks, Rod. Amad Diallo and Diogo Dalla. Yeah, it's true. It's confusing when one team have similar second names. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. Diogo Dalla will take the throw-in for Manchester United. He's wearing the number 20, and it's headed down there nicely by McTominay. But just getting in to make the challenge was Declan Rice with Kobbie Mainoo and Paul Tierney, and the assistant down this near side is determined that the throw-in goes to Manchester United. So Leandro Trossard complains, and he's stolen a good 8 yards at Diogo Dalla. That was almost level with the penalty area. He's now almost at the halfway line when he finally throws that ball. And here's Kobbie Mainoo. Mainoo just under pressure here now. He's got 2 Arsenal players, Bukayo Saka and Ben White, around him. Looks like it come off Bukayo Saka with the challenge there, and it's going to be a free kick in actual fact to Manchester United. Taken quickly by Garnacho, no messing about. Here's Sofyan Amrabat. Amrabat now. And he tried to find Kobbie Mainoo, but that is a poor ball by Sofyan Amrabat, and more or less tells the tale of this game and this afternoon in general for Manchester United. It goes out of play, and it's a throw-in to Arsenal. So, as we take a look at Rasmus Højlund, well, he's got 8 goals this season for Manchester United. So we'll see. He's not had much luck in ways of VAR goals going against him and such, but I think he's done a very commendable job for his first season in the Premier League. Here is Declan Rice. Gives the ball to Gabriel. And back to Declan Rice again. and across to William Saliba. And Saliba gives it back to David Raya. And it's now picked up by Gabriel. Gabriel gives the ball to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu just pulling away from Wan-Bissaka, gives the ball to Thomas Partey. And Partey just drops the ball back to the goalkeeper. As this game of footballing chess continues. As it's cleared downfield by David Raya. Long and flicked on there by Kai Havertz, but getting in there was Casemiro to clear the ball. Got some distance on it. Inside the centre circle is Thomas Partey, who gives the ball to Odegaard. Odegaard down the right-hand side to Bukayo Saka. Overlapping is Ben White. Bukayo Saka, just at the corner of the penalty area, right-hand side, drops it off to Odegaard. Back to Partey. Odegaard will have a second bite at the cherry. Here he goes again. Gives the ball now to Bukayo Saka. Saka looking for a runner, finds Ben White. Plays the ball across there, and a shot by Rice, and it's blocked. Breaks loose now for Leandro Trossard. He tries to pull the ball into the middle to Saka, but that is cleared away by Casemiro. And that's really the closest Arsenal have come since they've scored, and they're back again now with Declan Rice again. And he gives the ball now to Ben White. Ben White to Odegaard. Back to White. And Thomas Partey. And across there to Gabriel. And it's Declan Rice again to Trossard. Trossard drops the ball into the centre circle, gives the ball now to Thomas Partey from Saliba. And here is Bukayo Saka, corner of the penalty area, right-hand side. Poor control that time by Trossard. And Arsenal gave the ball away, but they've got it back now, again, from poor play from Manchester United. Here's Bukayo Saka taking it towards the corner flag, and the challenge is by Kobe Mainoo, and Arsenal will be rewarded with a corner down the right-hand side. It's going to be taken by Bukayo Saka, as it usually is down this right-hand side. Arsenal usually load a few players into the 6-yard box, and we're seeing it there with Ben White, Tomiyasu, William Saliba. Most of the players are sort of in and around the penalty spot area. But they will make a dash into the 6-yard box now, as we see the corner coming in. Flicked on and over the crossbar. And the flick on there looks like it was from William Saliba, but it was too high and went over the crossbar. As Mikel Arteta must be jangling inside him right now, what he wouldn't give for a second goal at the moment. And here is Casemiro. Casemiro plays the ball across to Johnny Evans, as now Manchester United have the chance to launch an attack of their own. Johnny Evans to Alejandro Garnacho. Evans, and Garnacho picks the ball up now. Some space for Garnacho. Corner of the penalty area, left-hand side. Garnacho cuts inside. Beautiful challenge by William Saliba. Absolutely stopped Garnacho in his tracks with that one. What a wonderful piece of defending. And now Arsenal trying to break away. But Kai Havertz is also stopped in his tracks. But look at this challenge. In full flight, Garnacho. And that challenge was excellent because he had to get it right. That was a wonderful challenge by Saliba. And clears that ball away. That, again, just shows the standard of Arsenal's defending this season. Really, from what I have seen, in any event, from what I've seen this season, the defending has just been so good. But that really was a fine example of it there. Throw into Arsenal, just inside the Manchester United half of the field, to be taken by Ben White. Ben White drops the ball to William Saliba, who gives the ball to Gabriel. We are almost at the hour mark here. It is Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. As Saka is alleged to have been fouled there by Diogo Dalot. And Mikel Arteta is not happy with that either. So far, Paul Tierney, I think, has refereed this game very, very well. He's kept his cards in his pockets, which is traditionally a difficult thing to do when these two teams meet each other. Second half possession in favour of Arsenal, 63% favour of Arsenal. But again, they haven't really done much with it since they've had it in this second half. They've not really been able to create too much. Really the final ball for Arsenal, and a lot of passes being given away by both teams, really, that has made this a hard watch. Here's Ben White, dropped back to William Saliba, back to the goalkeeper, David Raya, and he releases it to William Saliba. Ben White, flicked on there to Bukayo Saka. Saka just tries to flick the ball forward, but that's comfortably won back by Amrabat, and he gives it to Dalla. And then Johnny Evans was a little bit too nonchalant there, almost played it right into Saka and allowed Saka to be away, but instead he actually manages to win a free kick for a foul by Bukayo Saka. And Johnny Evans now just plays the ball back to Andre Onana. As he finds Kobbie Mainoo. Good ball by Onana. And here's Mainoo. Mainoo plays the ball down the right-hand side. And it's Diallo. Diallo drops the ball back there to Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka, the former Crystal Palace player, back to Diallo. Diallo, long cross over to Garnacho on the left-hand side, corner of the penalty area. What can Garnacho do? He's got some space in front of him, and he curls it wide. Well, he had a lot of time and space there, probably more than he realised. And in the end, he opted to shoot when he could have perhaps taken this on a few yards, because just for a second there, Arsenal's defence fell asleep, which is not something I've said this season a lot. But in the end, the shot was wildly disappointing by Alejandro Garnacho. Mike says, huge player this season, Saliba. If we had him fully fit last season at this stage, we'd have gone the distance with City, that's for sure. I agree with you, Mike. Think we should be looking to get Partey off in place of Jorginho. Partey not been great today. That's the naivety he was talking about. Yes, it's true. I don't think Partey has been great. I don't think a few of the Arsenal players have been great today, to be honest. Here's Dalla, and it's Garnacho. Garnacho goes down stumbling. He can't possibly be appealing for a penalty. That would be outrageous. It's obvious that he stumbled and fell face first there. He's on his feet now. Yes, I also think Odegaard hasn't been at his best today. I think there's one or two of the Arsenal players that haven't been great. Defensively, they've been superb, of course. Here is David Raya now. He's going to launch this ball downfield. Up in the air there goes Kai Havertz again, but it goes over his head and Johnny Evans as the two meet there and have words. Here's Sofiane Amrabat. Amrabat plays the ball to Amad Diallo, back to Amrabat. And here's Wan-Bissaka. He just drops the ball back there to the captain, Scott McTominay. And here's Mainoo back into his own half to Casemiro. Casemiro, quick 1-2 with Amrabat as he moves towards the centre circle. Now plays the ball down the left-hand side to Johnny Evans. Evans gives the ball to Garnacho. Garnacho drops the ball back there to Johnny Evans. And now back with Casemiro. And here's Sofiane Amrabat. Holds the ball up. Oh, good ball by Amrabat. Plays the ball to Wan-Bissaka. Wan-Bissaka is just looking for the overlap there of Scott McTominay. He decides not to play it and plays it short to Diallo. And here is Kobbie Mainoo. Mainoo. And he gives the ball to Johnny Evans. And Evans drops the ball back to Mainoo. Mainoo across there to Amrabat. Amrabat down the right-hand side there to Diallo. Diallo drops the ball back to Amrabat. And now here's Mainoo. Mainoo trying to get away from Odegaard. Good work by Mainoo. Corner of the penalty area now. Right-hand side. Here's Diallo. He's got Rice and Tomiyasu in front of him. Diallo. And he drops the ball back to Wan-Bissaka. And the cross comes in this time, but Thomas Partey gets on the end of it. Falls to Garnacho, though. Edge of the penalty area, left-hand side. Back to Diogo Dalla. Dalla's crossing is an extremely poor one. And it's comfortably dealt with by Arsenal, with Saka clearing the ball downfield. Puts his foot through it, but Johnny Evans picks up the ball and gives it back to Garnacho. And Garnacho racing down the left-hand side. Inside the penalty area, Garnacho, but good work by Bukayo Saka. Just turns the ball away from Garnacho. And his clearance again, though, only manages to find Sofiane Amrabat. Casemiro finds Mainoo. Back to Amrabat. Amrabat forward to Højlund. Højlund just trying to turn away from Saliba. But his ball is a poor one and only finds Declan Rice. And here's Leandro Trossard now. Declan Rice. Back to Tomiyasu. To Trossard now. Down the left. Trossard's got space in front of him. He needs players in the box to help him out here. Corner of the penalty area for Trossard. Pulled across here now, and it's Odegaard. Odegaard looking to get a shot. Odegaard with a shot and a good save by Andre Onana. And I think that is the first shot on goal by either side since the 20th minute goal by Leandro Trossard. And that's how this game has been. Odegaard, of course, known for getting goals from in and around that area. Most teams do cotton on to it. And here's Odegaard again, and here's Bukayo Saka. Saka now plays the ball across to flicked into the penalty area that time, and it's just headed out that time by Johnny Evans. It's now with Diogo Dalot. Dalot lifts the ball forward, looking for Mainu. Just nipping in there is Partey, but he only finds Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And here is Scott McTominay. Gives the ball to Garnacho down the left-hand side. Hoping to start the young Argentinian on his way into the penalty area. Garnacho, good cross. But again, there's no Manchester United player looking to get on the end of that. And that's another disappointing play come to an end for Manchester United. Mike says he'd take off Odegaard, look at getting Emil Smith-Rowe on. For him, Havertz back into midfield and Jesus on top. Maybe bring Martinelli on. I absolutely agree. I think this game is crying out for someone like Martinelli, to be honest. Leandro Trossard looks like he's taking a look here again at his goal. Pulled across by Havertz. It was really a good ball by Havertz across there. And Leandro Trossard celebrates, but it's really, in terms of offence, that's really much of what Arsenal has done. The substitutions just been made, talking about Trossard and Martinelli. Looks like that change has already happened. 66 minutes, and Gabriel Martinelli is on for Leandro Trossard, and that is a change that I wholeheartedly agree with. Here's Tomiyasu now with the throw-in. It's thrown it long, and getting in there is Wan-Bissaka with a challenge. With Martinelli on now for Arsenal, this may add a bit of creative spark and pace from the Brazilian. We know what he's capable of. Here is Saliba. Saliba across to Gabriel. We've got 33 minutes left here at Old Trafford. 23 minutes left here at Old Trafford, and it is Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. And so far, Arsenal are pretty comfortable at the moment, really. Here is Ben White, gives it to Saliba, and Saliba gives it back to David Raya. Raya across there to Gabriel. Gabriel goes long, looking for Martinelli. Wan-Bissaka gets a header in there, just heads it down to Casemiro. Casemiro plays the ball forward there as far as McTominay. McTominay lays it off for Amad Diallo. And he gives the ball to Amrabat, to Garnacho. Garnacho turns Ben White really well there. Garnacho now dropped to Dalot. Can Dalot swing the cross? And he doesn't. He drops it back to Sofyan Amrabat. To Johnny Evans, across to Casemiro. He's not afraid to have a shot. It's Casemiro. He does this time. And on 67 minutes and 34 seconds, that is the first shot on goal for Manchester United from the centre-back, no less, Casemiro. And it's right at the goalkeeper. Comfortable save, really, for David Raya. And the ball is now with William Saliba. Saliba gives the ball to Tomiyasu. And it's now with Tomiyasu, actually. And the ball is played long over to the right-hand side. That is a superb ball right to the feet of Bukayo Saka. And he has got Dalot in front of him. Saka, can he get the cross in? He tries, but that's a good interception by Diogo Dalot. Puts that behind for a goal, a corner. Really good piece of defending there by Diogo Dalot. And now, just down there now is one of the Manchester United players. Looks like it's Amad Diallo. He looks in some discomfort. And if you're still with us, thanks very much for spending your afternoon with us, and we certainly appreciate you spending your valuable time with us listening to this game today, as Anthony, it looks like, is coming on. We're just going to see who is coming off. I'm just trying to get a look now. It looks like he's ready to come on. Anthony adding some creative spark. And yes, it's going to be Diallo probably that's coming off, isn't it? With the injury there, he looks in a lot of discomfort. And this is something that Manchester United just don't need. They do not need any more injuries. Amad Diallo is off, and Anthony is going to be coming on in just a second, as he's on the field now. And the corner is to be taken down on the right-hand side by Bukayo Saka. We've got the players in the middle there. 1-0. Short corner taken by Saka to Odegaard. Back to Saka. What can he do here? Saka drop back to Declan Rice. Rice to Odegaard. Odegaard holds the ball up now. He may swing one in here. Gives the ball to Bukayo Saka. Good challenge by Safrat on Amrabat. Wins that ball back very well, but then he's fouled by Bukayo Saka, and it's going to be a free kick, and we may be seeing our first yellow card in the game. There it is. So Bukayo Saka goes into the referee's notebook on the 70th minute. And, well, I think it's a late challenge, really. Yes, I can't argue with that as in terms of the decision, because he doesn't really make an attempt to win the ball there. Here is Johnny Evans. Johnny Evans plays the ball long. Just looking there for Højlund. That's good defending by Saliba once more. He's done very, very well today, Saliba. Here is Diogo Dalot. Dalot gives the ball to Casemiro. Back to Amrabat. Amrabat. Mike says fair decision. Saka always on the back foot there. No option, but it's a yellow, no question. Here's Martinelli now just trying to get away from Amrabat, but that's a good piece of defending by Amrabat. And I have to say, if I was picking a player of the match for Manchester United, Amrabat would be considered, because I think he's worked very hard today. Here is Gabriel to Ben White. White just plays the ball forward there, looking for Tomiyasu, but that's a good interception by Anthony. And he's got options left and right as Anthony. He's going to go on his own. He gets a shot away, but it's a poor effort. Well, he had Garnacho on the left and Højlund on the right, and he chose to go on his own. Not sure that was the best of options. Here is Tomiyasu. He drops the ball back to Gabriel. Back to Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu just pulls the ball back, and it looks like that's going to go out of play off a Manchester United player, I think. It's going to be a throw into Arsenal, surely. As we take a look again at this breakout, it was a poor pass in the end by Ben White, more of a hospital pass, really. But options left and right there for Anthony. And the throw-in is going to be taken by Takahiro Tomiyasu, who's just about 4 or 5 yards away from his own corner flag. And he goes for the long one. There's Tomiyasu. It's up in the air, and the heads go up, and just trying to get up there and make that challenge was Kai Havertz, and it goes out of play as Erik ten Hag just discussing with his assistant now what options are available. And it's going to be another throw into Arsenal. It's going to be taken once again by Tomiyasu. Tomiyasu throws the ball long and headed on by Gabriel Martinelli. Oh, that's a good interception. And here now comes Kobe Mainoo. And Kobe Mainoo loses it this time. Gabriel Martinelli loses it, and Kobe Mainoo picks up the ball, and it's now down the right-hand side with Anthony, and he gives the ball back to Mainoo. It's to Amrabat. Amrabat is going to try a shot, and it's blocked, and Tomiyasu puts his foot through it to clear it, and Kai Havertz brings that ball down, but Casemiro just nips in and steals the ball and gives it back to Andre Onana, as he's just inside now the Manchester United half of the field, and that ball is played long by Johnny Evans, but it goes all the way through to the goalkeeper David Raya, and Campuala is the next substitute to be coming on for Manchester United, as it's around that prime substitution time. And here is Martin Odegaard. Odegaard gives the ball to Ben White, to Bukayo Saka. He's surrounded there by Diogo Dalot. and Manchester United win the ball back, but the ball broke loose, and here is Kobbie Mainoo now, midway inside the Arsenal half of the field. It's now with Scott McTominay. McTominay to Dalla. Diogo Dalla gives the ball to Garnacho. Garnacho gets away from Ben White. Inside the penalty area now, Garnacho, but it's blocked by Partey and then cleared away by William Saliba. And it's going to be a throw-in to Manchester United as Cambuala is about to come on. Just can't quite see who the player is that's coming off. Number 35, so it's Johnny Evans. Evans coming off and Cambuala is coming on. And he talks to Casemiro, providing some instructions from the manager, Cambuala. And the throw-in is taken quickly. It's now with Diogo Dalla. Back to Casemiro. Casemiro long towards the right-hand side looking for Anthony. Jumping up there is Takahiro Tomiyasu. And Anthony is alleged to have fouled Tomiyasu. And it's going to be a free kick. And, well, Mike says, can we wish a good friend from Stevenage FC, Donny Lusby, well, who suffered a stroke back in February, age 24. He's a fellow Gooner too, fellow Stevenage and Arsenal fan. Has been in hospital for the last few months. Well, Danny, from everyone at the commentary hub, we wish you all the best in a speedy recovery. And it's David Raya who plays the ball downfield. Picked up in the air there and cleared away by Sofyan Amrabat. And out of play for a throw-in to Arsenal, which Takahiro Tomiyasu is going to take. And he just holds the ball. He's just looking for options available. The referee is going to start looking at his watch very shortly. It's not going to allow too much of this for much longer. Tomiyasu does throw the ball long. And down there is Kai Havertz. He's alleged to have been fouled, but the game goes on. And the ball is played forward looking for Højlund, and it's dropped back to Mainoo. And here now is Sofyan Amrabat. And Amrabat's ball is a disappointing one, and it's picked up by Bukayo Saka down the right-hand side. But his ball, equally disappointing, is picked up by Cambuala. And now breaking away is Scott McTominay. McTominay finds Garnacho in the penalty area. Garnacho with a shot, but it's just wide. And, well, it was a disappointing effort by Garnacho. Well, you can see here the ball. It's a good ball by McTominay. The angle is a bit tight, but you'd expect somebody of Garnacho's talents to maybe do a little better there. And apparently, Danny Lusby and his father they're both at the hospital now watching the game. I hope they're enjoying it. Arsenal winning. I'm sure he's obviously very happy right now. At least for now. There's this one goal in it. Manchester United threatening to get back into this game, though. And there is Saliba, who drops it back to the goalkeeper. And he gives it to Gabriel. Gabriel holds the ball up midway inside his own half of the field. And it's dropped back there to Tomiyasu. And the ball is played forward to Martin Odegaard, who's looking to set off Gabriel Martinelli on his way. Here goes Martinelli now down the left. He cuts inside the penalty area. Martinelli, can he get the shot away? Martinelli! Oh, he does! Oh, a super save by Andre Onana! Oh, that was the best bit of football we've seen throughout the whole game. It was a brilliant break down the left from Gabriel Martinelli. He cuts inside the penalty area. He gets the shot away. He's not challenged at all, it's Martinelli. Really shocking defending. But he gets that shot away and matched with an equally good save by Andre Onana. And it would have been difficult because Onana would have seen that at the last minute. That's a superb save. And Martinelli can't believe that he hasn't just added a second goal. And it's a corner now with Bukayo Saka, which he is going to take. And there is 11 minutes left in this game. And it's going to be swung in. Just deep towards the back post and headed up into the air there by Casemiro. Only as far as Declan Rice, who heads it down to Bukayo Saka. Bukayo Saka looking to get to the touchline on the right-hand side. Here goes Saka. Can he get the cross in? No, that's a good block there by Scott McTominay, stopping that from getting across. And now Manchester United, with Rasmus Højlund, is on his way. He sends off Garnacho. Garnacho looking to beat Odegaard. Oh, that's superb work by Garnacho. He's in the penalty area down the left-hand side. Oh, he tries pulling it across. But that is a good block by Ben White as Arsenal once again slam the door on Manchester United defensively. And Bukayo Saka is just basically off the pitch at the moment, injured. Mike says United really are awful defensively, just standing off. Yeah, you're right. This is, from what I've seen today, there is a lot of concerns defensively if you are a Manchester United fan. And it's Garnacho now swinging the ball in, punched out by David Raya, and he manages to find it in doing so Gabriel Martinelli, but he's stopped in his tracks by Aaron Wan-Bissaka. And the ball goes back now to, I think that is White, and he sends the ball long as far as Martinelli again, who's still in that advanced position. He's holding the ball up, looking for support. Here is Martinelli, but that is a good challenge by Diogo Dalla, as Martinelli trying to encourage the Arsenal fans. And Bukayo Saka looks like he's taken a knock there. And for the sake of Arsenal, I hope it's not serious. They have one final game to go against Everton, which of course they'll need to win. But we'll see how this it's gone down again. And Arsenal readying Gabriel Jesus to come on now. And it may well be that they are taking Bukayo Saka off here. Yes, indeed they are. Bukayo Saka is off. 81 minutes. And on is Gabriel Jesus. And, well, it's sad for Bukayo Saka. Obviously, we hope he's okay and that he hasn't sustained too much there. Maybe more of an impact knock than anything else. But that looks very painful. So Saka will go off. And Paul Tierney is trying to get him off quicker. And coming on there is Gabriel Jesus, a former Manchester City player, so he's not likely to be greeted here with any love. And with 8 minutes to go, Martin Odegaard will take this corner as a replacement for Bukayo Saka. Still 1-0. So the minutes ticking down here at Old Trafford. And it's to be Odegaard is going to swing this one in deep into the back post. It's flicked on and almost went into the net off their own player. And here's Martinelli. I'm not quite sure who it was. I thought it was McTominay. It's now back with Declan Rice. Rice with a shot. Super save by Onana. As once again, Andre Onana steps up to make a good save from Declan Rice's effort. As for the first time really in this game, we see a more consistent offense from Arsenal. But that is a superb effort by Declan Rice. Dropping as well. That's a good save by Andre Onana. And Martin Odegaard will take the corner. He's going to swing this one in again. Under the goalkeeper's crossbar, I should say. It's headed back in by Jesus. And it's bouncing around outside there now. It's hooked on there by William Saliba, looking to hook the ball back into the Manchester United penalty area, but it goes out of play as it's going to be a throw into Manchester United. As we look at this once again, just want to see who that ball came off. Oh, it came off Wan-Bissaka, and it forced another good save from Andre Onana, because that would have, of course, that was going in. And here's Wan-Bissaka. Sofyan Amrabat, midway inside his own half of the field. And it's given it to Kobe Mainoo, who gives it to Casemiro. Time ticking down at Old Trafford, but still just a slender lead for Arsenal, 1-0. And here's Casemiro. Casemiro drops the ball back to Amrabat. Amrabat just holds the ball up and plays it nicely there to Scott McTominay. And it's now with Anthony. Anthony back to Wan-Bissaka. And that is now back to Kobe Mainoo. Back to Mainoo again. And to Casemiro. Casemiro just trying to turn away from Odegaard. He drops it back. Does a quick 1-2. Does Cambuala with Diogo Dalot. Dalot gets the ball back now. Dalot played to Casemiro. Casemiro holds the ball up. And it's given to Sofyan Amrabat. And now here's Anthony. Cuts inside. Gives the ball back to Amrabat. Patient build-up this by Manchester United. Here's Wan-Bissaka. Mainoo. Anthony. Corner of the penalty area. Right-hand side. Mainoo just trying to get inside there. He pulled back towards the touchline. He drops the ball back to Amrabat, whose ball into the box is poor. And that's cleared away by Gabriel back into the Manchester United half. It's met by Andre Onana. There is 5 minutes to go here at Old Trafford. It is Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. And here's Scott McTominay. Plays the ball. Well, he was looking for Mainoo, but that is won, in fact, by Declan Rice, who's now down as well, along with Kobe Mainoo. It's Tomiyasu, in actual fact. It's down with Kobe Mainoo. And Manchester United, well, they can't afford any more injuries. At the moment, they are not looking like, it's knee to knee, so that may just be an impact injury, but Manchester United simply cannot afford any more injuries right now. Tomiyasu just stretching himself. Mainoo still down. You're listening to Alternative Commentary on the Commentary Hub YouTube channel. Today's Player of the Match sponsor on the Hub is sponsored by Commentary Services. And Commentary Services would like to thank our broadcasting partners for this season, JB Sports and Storm FM, and Focus on Football. And don't forget, you can follow us on Twitter at Commentary Live 1, and you can like our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Commentary Hub. As Manchester United about ready to make a triple substitution. This is just going to take, so it's going to be Ethan Wheatley, Christian Eriksen, and I'm just not quite sure who the other is. And so it looks like Kobe Mainoo may be one being replaced. Okay. Somebody wearing 60. Samari Forson, I think. Yes, I think the other one is Amari Forson. We're going to see in a moment anyway. I just can't quite see because his number is covered up. So we'll get the substitutes about who's who in a moment. It is Forson, I think, is the other substitute. Yeah. So it's Højlund, Wan-Bissaka and Amrabat that's off. Højlund, Wan-Bissaka and Amrabat that is off. I'm quite surprised at that. I think Amrabat has been one of Manchester United's better players. So Wan-Bissaka, Amrabat and Højlund off. Eriksen, Forson and Wheatley are on. So Eriksen, as you know, wears 14. Forson wears 62. And Wheatley wears 84. Forson and Wheatley, around about 20 years of age or younger. So this is part of this Manchester United youth setup that they've had to have on the pitch now because of all the injuries. And that's 5 substitutes that they've made now. So that's Manchester United's limit. It's back with Onana. And cleared downfield. The heads go up. It's flicked on, in fact. There by flicked on there by Dalot, and he's in an offside position anyway, so it's going to be a free kick. As Arsenal just sticking to the 2 substitutes as it stands right now. They may make an additional one in stoppage time. That's certainly a possibility, as we're about 90 seconds away from that now, as this game is basically closing down at this point now. Mike says Wheatley looked okay against Palace, all things considered. Yes, well, I think, Mike, if me and you had stepped out against Crystal Palace compared to the rest of that Manchester United team, we might have looked okay as well. Here's Jesus and gives it now to Odegaard. Odegaard tries to find Declan Rice. Rice, it's pulled back across, and it's going to bounce. Is it for Martinelli? It doesn't. It's hacked away by Casemiro, but Arsenal coming very close to the second goal then, and that would have killed it. And now here's Jesus again, down the left-hand side. Jesus gets to the byline, but he rolls it behind. He rolls it out of play, and it's going to be a goal kick. Third appearance this season for Wheatley. Played 1 minute against Sheffield United and 11 minutes against Crystal Palace, according to our stat man, Ross. Thanks very much for that, Ross. And here is Christian Eriksen for Manchester United. He plays the ball forward to Forsley. Forsley just trying to turn away there now. He gets into the centre circle and drops it to Casemiro. Casemiro played down this left-hand... Well, Anthony now is down the left-hand side. Gives the ball to Garnacho. It's dropped back there by Forsley. And it's now back to Cambuala. And the referee has stopped play for some reason. Not sure exactly what for this time. Garnacho was on his feet. It didn't look like a head injury, so I'm not sure why play was stopped. Let's have a look. Oh, I guess it could have been considered a head injury. He went in there, didn't he? Did Gabriel Jesus. We're in stoppage time, and there is 6 minutes of stoppage time awarded by our fourth official, Darren Bond, as Paul Tierney hands the ball back to Cambuala, and he gives the ball there to the number 14, Christian Eriksen. Back to Cambuala. Forson plays the ball down the left to Anthony, and it's back with Forson, who gives the ball back to Cambuala. Cambuala in the centre circle, gives the ball to Eriksen. Back to Cambuala. Plays the ball forward there to the number 37, Kobe Mainoo. And it's now with Forson. Back to Anthony. Anthony trying to get to the byline. Anthony with a cross, and well, Wheatley was lurking in there, but David Raya plucks that out of the air safely, and it's going to be held there by Raya as Kiwior and Jorginho are readying to come on as action on the Arsenal bench. Jorginho and Kiwior will make it the third and fourth substitution for Arsenal, as here is Jesus. Jesus is dispossessed now, and there is Garnacho, gives the ball to McTominay. McTominay was dispossessed that time and cleared by Partey all the way downfield, but I think the ball may have gone out of play as the rain is tumbling down on Old Trafford. It's tumbling down on this Manchester United team, and it's tumbling down on this Manchester United manager. Is it really almost game over for Erik ten Hag? Will he still be the manager in the summer, or will, in fact, he have to find pastures new? Arsenal making a double substitution. Martin Odegaard and Thomas Partey are coming off. Coming on is Jorginho and Jacob Kiwior. So Arsenal looking like they are going 5 at the back. As now then, here is Eriksen. Eriksen lays the ball off to Casemiro. Casemiro plays the ball there to Dalot. It's intercepted though, and here's Gabriel Martinelli for Arsenal. He drops it back to Tomiyasu. Long ball by Tomiyasu, and all of a sudden Martinelli might have just nipped in there because the Manchester United defence fell asleep again. Finally, Casemiro picks the ball up and sets Anthony off and gives the ball now to Garnacho. Garnacho cutting inside. Garnacho with a shot, and David Raya just watches it go wide as Garnacho is claiming that was a corner. Let me just take another look at this. Not sure where the deflection comes from, if there is a deflection, and no, there doesn't seem to be. We'll take a look at it from another angle. I think he might have been claiming it was coming off Ben White, but no, there was no deflection for me. That's a goal kick. As time is running out, the Arsenal fans being made to sweat because this is still only 1-0. And as one great man said, it only takes a second to score a goal. So the goal kick is going to be taken by David Raya. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Many of the Old Trafford crowd has actually left. And finally, Paul Tierney has shown a yellow card for time wasting, this time to David Raya. I actually think that was a reasonable decision because I think Arsenal throughout the second half have been taking too long with some of their set pieces and throw-ins and goal kicks. David Raya punished that time. The ball is out of play. It's going to be a throw-in with going to be taken by Garnacho, but Garnacho leaves it for Anthony as we are inside the last 90 seconds plus whatever time Paul Tierney may add on for his own discretion. We'll see. Here's Ericsson. Gives the ball to Cambuala. Cambuala back to Ericsson as the Old Trafford crowd starting to leave. I'm surprised they're leaving at 1-0, but here's Ericsson. Ericsson tries to swing the ball in, but it's blocked. And Gabriel Jesus lifts the ball forward to Kai Havertz, who goes down. And here's Anthony now for Manchester United. Anthony gives the ball to Garnacho down the left. Garnacho just slips a little bit. It gives time for Ben White, and Garnacho still gets the crossing. And it's plucked out of the air by David Raya, who just falls on top of it. And Arsenal can now breathe a sigh of relief. They're inside the last minute. And looking at Mikel Arteta, he does look somewhat nervous, even now as we tick into the last few seconds. And in very shortly, I'm going to be naming my player of the match. And I'm just going to pass it on to my producer, Ross. And now the game will continue. And it's long upfield. And it's picked up by Anthony. Anthony just leaves it there for Mainu. And Garnacho. It's now back with Casemiro. Time ticking down here. And it's now with Anthony. And in the next stoppage, I'll call our player of the match. And plucked out of the air by David Raya. And today's player of the match, as sponsored by Commentary Services, I'm giving it to William Saliba. Arsenal haven't looked great going forward all the game, neither has Manchester United. William Saliba has been a rock in that Arsenal defence today, controlling everything and intercepting, challenging, tackling, doing wonderful things defensively and setting and even starting creating offensive plays. For me, he is the player of the match. So today's player of the match, as sponsored by Commentary Services, goes to Arsenal's number 2, William Saliba. And that's it. The referee has blown full time. It's enough for Arsenal. They keep the pressure on Manchester City at the top of the table. A 1-goal victory, courtesy of a 20th minute goal by Leandro Trossard, as Arsenal return to the top of the table by 1 point. But they have to wait on Spurs versus Manchester City on Tuesday to see how that goes. This was by no means a classic. It was a hard watch, but it's full time. It's what Arsenal needed. It's Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. Back to Ross.
Thank you very much there, Paul. James, excellent coverage from Paul as the game progressing. What we'll say is, and I'm not sure if Mike agrees, which we'll get Mike's thoughts on this when I come to him before we go to, after I've gone through some other scores. But for me, before we get Mike's thoughts on the actual game itself, but for me, that was one of Paul's best commentaries that he's done here on the channel this afternoon. Great work from Paul, as always. We're running through all the Premier League scores from today and this weekend so far later in the programme. Just before we finish, let's bring you the rest of the scores from around the world today. In the Championship, Norwich City 0, Leeds United 0, and West Bromwich Albion 0, Southampton 0. All to play for in the second legs of those matches. Leeds v Norwich on Thursday, Ellen Road. Southampton v West Brom Friday at St Mary's. In Premier League 2, which is the under-21s, Tottenham against Liverpool is a 7 o'clock kick-off in the UK. In the under-18s, he finished Nottingham Forest 3, Everton 2. That's in the Premier League. In the Women's FA Cup final, he finished Manchester United 4, Tottenham Hotspur 0. In French League 1, all games kick off at 8 o'clock. Clermont against Lyon, Marseille against Lorient, Montpellier against Monaco, Nantes against Lille, PSG versus Toulouse, Rennes v Lyon, and Strasbourg v Metz. In the German Bundesliga, we finished Darmstadt 0, Hoffenheim 6, Bayern Munich 2, Wolfsburg 0, with Bayern Munich fetching on the substitute goalkeeper late on for his debut, only 18 years of age, is Daniel Peretes, 23 years of age. He is actually not 18 as I initially thought. 10th of July 2000 he was born, made his Bayern Munich debut today, coming off the bench to replace Manuel Neuer in the Bundesliga game for Bayern Munich. Bochum against Leverkusen is at 6:30 UK time. In the Italian Serie A, to tell you about his Lazio 2, Empoli 0, Genoa 2, Sassuolo 1, Verona 1, Torino 2, and 64 minutes on the clock. It is Juventus 0, Salernitana 1 is the full-time score there. Not sure if Neuer was injured, Paul, or whether they decided to give his debut for him today. He's not made his Bayern debut before. Atalanta 0, AS Roma. Atalanta versus AS Roma is a 7:45 kickoff in that game. In the Dutch Eredivisie, Ajax 3, Almere City 0, Excelsior 4, Hercules 0, Red Eagles 0 is at Alkmaar 3, MV 1, Vitesse Arnhem 3, Nemgen 2, Feyenoord 3, Fortuna Sittard 1, PSV Eindhoven 1, FC 27, FC Volendam 2, Utrecht 0, Sparta Rotterdam 1, Waalwijk 1, Pek Zwolle 1 as well. In the Scottish Premiership, Hibernian 0, Aberdeen 4. In La Liga, Cadiz 1, Getafe 0, Atletico Madrid 1, Celta Vigo 0. Half-time, Valencia 0, Rayo Vallecano 0 is the score. That will be the Premier League results from this weekend so far. Just a little bit later on the Premier League table after this result today. Excuse me. Let's now fetch in Mike Connerman. First of all, Mike, at the top of this, and after the game had finished, I said it was a fantastic commentary from Paul, probably one of the best he's done for us here on the channel. What do you make to that, Mike?
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Russ, as well. I thought Paul did a fantastic job, a phenomenal job, a sterling job. You know, I can go through all the superlatives, to be honest, but yeah, I thought Paul was excellent.
Yes, now, Mike, let's look on the game. Arsenal back to winning ways, back top of the Premier League after, not back to winning ways, back, continuing their winning streak now, and back top of the table, 1-0. It could have been more, probably should have been more as well, Mike. What did you take away from that performance today?
Yeah, as I've said, it's not the prettiest of games. Sorry, I should say. It's a professional away performance. Defence was solid. I thought Saliba was brilliant. I'm glad that Paul gave him player of the match because I'd have done the same. I thought he was a real standout at the back today. Gabriel did well as well, but I thought Saliba was the better of the two. And yeah, as you say, it could have been more than the 1-0 that it was. It's a good goal by Trossard. And then obviously Andre Onana kept Manchester United in it in the second half with a couple of really good saves. And, you know, it was quite kind of comfortable when you look back on it, but also a little bit nervy because it's Arsenal. Like, it's, you know, one of those ones where when you look back on it, it kind of, you know, Manchester United didn't offer an awful lot. But yeah, you know, you're always worried at 1-0. But yeah, you know, professional away performance. We've got the job done and the important 3 points that we needed.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. And just looking at some of the stats from the game today for Manchester United against Arsenal, which was a Arsenal victory for anyone who was just joining us. First half goal from Leandro Trossard on the 20th minute, assisted by Kai Havertz. The difference there, 73,600 inside Old Trafford this afternoon. Just looking at some of the stats today. Manchester United fell to defeat. 11 shots in the game, 5 on target for Arsenal, 14 shots in the game for Manchester United, 2 on target for Erik ten Hag's side. And Mike, obviously, we touched on Saliba there, mentioned Gabriel, but why do you think Manchester United only had 2 shots on target out of their 14 today?
It's, I mentioned it. I think I mentioned it before the game and even at half time as well. They are lacking quality. They're lacking, the likes of Bruno Fernandes and Marcus Rashford, who are big players for them, and players that would have been really up for this game and offer something different. Rashford's got a good goal scoring threat, and he likes to goal against Arsenal. I think he scored against Arsenal last season a couple of times, and obviously Bruno Fernandes as well is a real creative spark for them. And obviously both of those missing, played a part. When you look at the starting 11, I think that they were better than they did against Crystal Palace. They were quite a bit better actually. I think they it's a different kind of Manchester United today than in that game. But still, there wasn't enough quality there. They brought on the likes of Anthony in the second half, who come on and he kind of tried to make things happen a little bit, but it was still relatively comfortable for the Arsenal backline.
Yeah, Arsenal's backline didn't really get troubled at all today, Mike, as that's just proven there. Looking going forward, Arsenal, as we mentioned, had a number of chances. What do you take away from that performance going forward, Mike, going into the final day next weekend?
I think it's a really good performance, like professional away performance. Defensively, I thought that attacking wise, neither side were brilliant, as Paul mentioned rightly on commentary, and there were a couple of misplaced passes in there from the likes of Havertz and Odegaard and people like that who you wouldn't really expect it to happen from. Players like that were a little bit off it. Hopefully, Bukayo Saka's all right for the Everton game next week. It might be an impact one. Hopefully, fingers crossed he's going to be okay for that final game next week. But I'm going to say it because every Arsenal fan is thinking it right now. We're all Tottenham fans on Tuesday because we desperately need to have a chance of getting this title. On Sunday next week when we host Everton at home, and obviously Manchester City host West Ham. So, I think for Tuesday and for Tuesday only, we're all Spurs fans.
Yeah, I was about to say, you must be first time in your life, Mike, probably more so than anything, that you'd be cheering on Tottenham on Tuesday night. And looking at the performance that they did yesterday against Burnley, yes, I know it's only Burnley, people probably point that out, but Paul, I know you watched that game yesterday. Just bringing you in on this conversation at the moment, Paul, looking from the how Spurs played against Burnley yesterday, and yes, I know it's only Burnley, but going into that game, I know Man City are really good and a really good animal this season, but how do you see this game going for Tottenham and Man City? Do you think Tottenham could do Arsenal a favour against Man City, or do you think it's going to be too big a ask, in your opinion, Paul?
It's as much as I would love to say that Tottenham would beat Manchester City, or at least hold them to a draw. It's just very difficult to say to put my head up and say, yeah, Tottenham are going to get the job done against Manchester City. I just don't see it the way they're playing. They look really, really poor right now. They didn't look that great against Burnley yesterday. And Burnley were, as the game went on, looked poor in the second half. For me, I as much as I'd love Spurs to beat Manchester City and Arsenal to win the league, I just don't see it happening.
Thank you very much there, Paul, for your input on that. I'm just going to take off
just on regards to what Paul was saying as well there, I think that it's a big ask. Manchester City are clear favourites to go and win the title now. There's not an awful lot in the goal difference now. That being a 1-0 scoreline, there's only 3 goals in it as well. So if they win that, 3 or 4 as they did yesterday, they could overtake on goal difference as well as, going back to the top of the Premier League. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Obviously, Aston Villa host Liverpool tomorrow, and that's going to have a part in it as well. If Aston Villa are to lose, then there'll be a bit more for Tottenham to play for. So, fingers crossed that Liverpool can do us a favour too.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. I'm just going to take off this in a moment. And I know Paul gave man of the match to William Saliba. I've just got these stats up from Saliba. This is Saliba's E-map against Manchester United today. And if you look at this, Mike, it looks like it was all over today. Didn't give Manchester United offensively and especially when Man United on the attack, didn't give him much to do there really. Did he? If you look at that E-map there from which we've just gone from up to that's the E-map for William Saliba, and it looks like it was a very good performance today from him, judging by what we've seen on that graphic just there in front of his mic.
Yeah, absolutely. That's quite an interesting graphic there as well for anyone that can see it visually on the screen. William Saliba literally, was everywhere apart from up front and on the left wing there, really. So, real good performance from Saliba, and it shows, what he means to this Arsenal team.
Yes, absolutely, Mike. And I was just looking to see how his map was like, Saliba's then, while you were talking, you were probably discussing, while Paul was having his say on that game in midweek for Tottenham against Manchester City. And when I noticed all that, I was like, that's interesting. And I thought I'd put it out there for people to see and get your opinions on that. And just going on to the game in midweek for Man City against Spurs. Obviously, I can't see Spurs in that game, but you never know. Mike, football's a funny old game. What we'll throw back to is, yes and a no. He's going to hear me saying this as a Leeds fan from the Championship. Nobody would have expected Leeds to go to lose 4-0 down at QPR towards back end of the regular Championship season and end up in the playoffs. Would have thought, get that win there, beat Southampton on the final day, which obviously Leeds didn't do in those two games, and then they get promoted. Yes, no, Ipswich had games in hand around that, but games, one on paper, like you probably go to that game and expect Man City to win, but on another day, if Tottenham turn up and perform like they can do, who knows? Tottenham could do Arsenal a favour on Tuesday evening, Mike.
Yeah, there's a possibility. There's always a possibility with football, as you say. But then, we have to look back on our own downfall. If we are to miss out on the title and the games that we've lost, losing to Newcastle and Fulham and West Ham and to Villa, obviously losing twice to Villa, home and away. That's where it will be lost rather than on anything else, really. It's a shame that we've got to rely on Tottenham and, Tottenham being Tottenham, their fans would, rather lose to Manchester City so that we don't win the title than them get into the Champions League. That's kind of their mentality, which is a little bit of a strange one, really, because obviously you want your team to win, or you should do anyway, whoever they're playing against, and, for the integrity of the league and stuff as well. But, that's what it means to Tottenham fans. They'd rather lose to Manchester City than, give us a chance at the title, yeah.
Absolutely, Mike. We're just going to leave it there. Then we're just going to bring you up today with the Premier League scores from this weekend, and then bring you up today with the Premier League table as well. Just before we do leave you today, we'll bring you up today with those right now, starting off with Saturday, the 11th of May, 2024. Fulham 0, Manchester City 4. Bournemouth 1, Brentford 2. Everton 1, Sheffield United 0. Newcastle 1, Brighton of Albion 1. Tottenham Hotspur 2, Burnley 1. West Ham United 3, Luton Town 1. Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, Crystal Palace 3. Nottingham Forest 2, Chelsea 3. And on Sunday, 12th of May 2024, Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. And let's bring you up to date with how the Premier League table looks this evening. Starting off at the bottom three in the Premier League today is at the bottom is Sheffield United on 16 points. They were relegated last weekend. Burnley relegated yesterday, then sitting 19th. Luton Town all but relegated. They're sitting in 18th. They're all but down now, and it'll be the first time in quite a while that all three promotion sides from the previous season were relegated the next season if Luton are to go down, which, judging by the goal difference, it looks like they will be going down. Nottingham Forest surviving then, despite losing to Chelsea yesterday. They sit on 29 points in 17th position. Brentford are in 16th on 39 points. Everton are in 15th on 40 points. They're now safe in the Premier League, despite having some points took off them. Nottingham Forest also having points took off them as well. Fulham in 14th on 44 points. They're 2 points behind. Wolves are in 13th on 46. Crystal Palace are in 12th on 46 as well. Bournemouth completely bottom half of the table on 48 points. They sit 11th. Into the top half of the Premier League table then, and Brighton sit in 10th on 48 points. West Ham in 9th on 52. Manchester United, after their defeat against Arsenal, are in 8th on 54 points. They've got a game in hand, which is against Newcastle on Wednesday evening. Chelsea is 7th on 57. Newcastle in 6th on 57. Tottenham in 5th on 63. Aston Villa in 4th on 67. With a win, they can secure top 4 football this season if they beat Liverpool tomorrow. Liverpool in 3rd on 78 points. Man City in 2nd on 85. Arsenal back top of the table on 86 points. Only 5 games lost this season for Arsenal. 3 games lost for Manchester City. That's the least amount in the Premier League table. And I just want to say, and sorry to Sheffield United fans for bringing this stat up, Sheffield United could become the first ever Premier League side to concede over 100 goals in a Premier League season. 101 goals conceded. That's since the turn to a 38-game season. And Sheffield United, 101 goals conceded so far from their defeat yesterday. And they sit rock bottom of the Premier League. So thank you very much to Mike Arneman for his input today. Thank you to Paul as well. But just before we do leave you then, Mike just wants to have a quick say on the relegation battle. And Mike, well, I want to, just before you come in on this, I just want to say this as well. And I think you may agree with me on this, Mike, and I think Paul may agree with me on this. If it wasn't for the points deductions for both Everton and Nottingham Forest, especially Nottingham Forest, Forest would have probably been safe from weeks ago, and the bottom 3 would have already been down by now without it going into the final game of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, obviously the bottom 3 are down. You said Liverpool, not Liverpool, sorry. You said that Luton, sorry, Liverpool fans, I almost put you in the bottom 3 there for a second, but no, you said that Luton are as good as down. I think Luton really are down as well because of the goal difference. It's not confirmed yet, but it's going to take a mammoth ask of them to get out of it now with the final game of the season against, I think it's Fulham next week. But no, I think that when you look at it, it's crazy that I think it's 29 points in Forest. What Forest have got this season, and that's going to be enough to stay up in the Premier League. And it used to be about 40 points many years ago, and now it looks like 29 points is going to be enough, which is mad when you say that and think of it that way. But as for the teams that have gone down, commiserations to Sheffield United, who I thought have been very poor this season, to be honest. And I think the Championship is going to be a better league for them, to be honest, as well. Luton and Burnley have given it more, and have been a bit more competitive in the league. And I think that if they stick with their managers Rob Edwards and Vincent Kompany, respectively, I should say, I think they'll do well again in the Championship next season if they can keep the bulk of the squads together as well. They'll be up there or thereabouts again. But as I was saying, 29 points to stay up in the Premier League is mad.
Absolutely, Mike. Absolutely. So big thank you then to Mike for his thoughts throughout the game and also before the game and during half-time and full-time, and his thoughts on the relegation battle. Big thank you once again to Paul for his excellent commentary this afternoon and also his input on the Spurs Man City game, which we touched upon briefly. And big thanks to those who have listened to this afternoon's match. I've been Russ Vernon, from myself, from Paul James, the match commentator, from Mike Arneman, and from the rest of the team here at the Commentary Hub. We thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again in the not so near future. Thank you very much for listening. Bid you farewell as Arsenal return top of the Premier League. May it only be for at least just over 48 hours. Goodbye.